And like we said, when John comes in, we will circle back to anything that maybe we missed or want to get for sure his word on. All right. Why isn't that recording? Okay. Scott? Okay, there we go. All right, here we go. It begins in 3, 2, 1.
The battlefield is no place to sit on your asses!
Hey, everybody, welcome back to Core. That's right, this is Core, the only podcast in video games that broadcasts from 3 capital cities. That's right, Ottawa, Salt Lake City, our capital city of Utah, and the capital. Oh, I don't know if John can call Phoenix the capital. He might be more suburby-ish, so it may not be Phoenix proper.
But is Phoenix the capital? I wouldn't even know.
I think so, actually. Now that you say it. Hold on. Capital of AZ.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, whew.
I was gonna try and make a joke maybe about other towns in Arizona, but I don't know any. It's the only one I know.
Well, you got Tempe. You got your.
Oh, Tempe is a town?
Tempe's a town. It's a great little city. I'm going to put John's picture here until he gets here. There we go. Yeah, Tempe's all right. I've been to a whole bunch of those little sub-towns, and I actually really like a lot of Arizona. So I think John hates the desert, but I think he's actually kind of got it going on there. It's cool. I like it.
Oh, Flagstaff is in Arizona.
Yep. There's
the only thing I know about Flagstaff is it's a neat name because it's got the word flag and staff in it.
Yeah, and they also have Flake, Arizona. That's a thing. Nobody there, Flake. No one ever does what they're supposed to in Flake. They just say, "Hey, I'll take care of it."
There's a town I thought it was called Topcock, but it's just Topok.
Oh, that's too bad. It's a shame.
Close.
Yeah,
close to being.
It's close, but you can't always get.
They've got rip-off Boston called Poston.
Oh, sweet. Poston, Arizona. You sure it isn't Poston? Okay. Wait.
I don't know how you say it. It's spelt like Poston. It could be pronounced differently. You know, Arizona and it's lingo. Oh, Tucson's in Arizona.
Oh yeah, Tucson's cool. I like Tucson. Yeah, lots of cool little towns there.
Tombstone. There's still a Tombstone.
Oh yeah, that was a real city and remains one.
Oh man, they must love living in a place called Tombstone. Like,
yeah.
Wouldn't you feel like a badass if you're like, where are you from? I'm from Tombstone, Arizona. It's like, oh shit.
How many buffets?
Like, I want to be from like Graveyard, Ontario. You know. Like,
how many town and country buffets do you think they have there that are named after the OK Corral? Probably a lot.
Oh, probably all of them.
Yeah, that sounds about right to me.
Yeah.
But we do this. We speak of things only John would know because he isn't here. He will be. He's going to pop in. As soon as he gets back, he's at an important meeting that he couldn't get out of. It was a little last second, but he'll pop in as soon as John's schedule allows, and we'll be here waiting for him with open arms.
Sorry, one more Arizona name that I got to laugh at. There's a place called Tortilla.
Awesome. Let's go there.
Tortilla Flat. I'm like,
really? Tortilla Flats? I would go there.
Yeah.
I wonder if they make good tortillas. Cool.
I want to go to Shawarma City, please.
I mean, it's some of the best Mexican food you'll ever have in your life is in Arizona. Like,
I believe it.
So good.
I mean, I'm just laughing at the names. It's a great place. I'm not denigrating the actual.
You like a tortilla. You're a fan, right?
I like a tortilla. You know what I like? I'm really partial to is a quesadilla.
Oh yeah, dude.
Quesadillas are my jam. Especially get all that rice out of there. Just chicken and avocado.
Yeah.
And cheese.
A little crispy.
Sour cream.
A little crispy.
Crispy as hell. Like there's this place, Burrito Gringo in town. They make really big quesadillas that aren't wimpy.
I want
most places you go to you go somewhere and they got these wimpy flat little quesadillas that are just like, I mean, shocker, in Canada you can't get a good quesadilla, but
not known for its south of the border cuisine.
Yeah, we're not exactly close to the heart of Mexican food here, but Burrito Gringo is pretty good.
All right, I'm going to remember
big,
that.
Fat, thick quesadillas that are crispy, and I like them.
When I finally get my ass up to Canada and I visit you and hang out up there, we're getting quesadillas. That'd be great.
Hell yeah! Although no, we're getting poutine. Like we're gonna lather you in gravy and roll you up.
Let's do it.
Poutine store.
They always have curds in them. Is that a rule? Curds are always a part of the deal.
Yeah, if you're gonna eat out and get them, yeah, you got to get it with curds.
All right.
You can make it at home with regular cheese, and it's not that great.
I love a good curd. A squeaky curd. Oh, give me.
It's not just You get smoked meat puts in, so it's gravy, but then it's a whole bunch of smoked meat shavings.
Yeah.
That's the best.
All right,
Or
sign me up.
onion and bacon. You can pretty much put like tons of different stuff on it.
Those weirdo ketchup chips you guys eat up there, I'll get a bunch of those.
Yeah,
love
we got
that.
ketchup chips are like so common. Like it's so common here, and it's so weird that other places don't have ketchup.
It's
chips.
extremely uncommon down here. They show up occasionally, but it's not a thing you go to most grocery stores to see, which is so weird. I don't know why. I like them. I don't know why they didn't take off here, because we like ketchup on everything else. It's an us problem. You guys are fine.
You guys have all dressed?
We do have that, but we call them. Do we call it all dressed? Maybe we do, but it's basically like every spice you can think, or every flavor all together, basically, right? Is the idea?
Yeah.
Yeah, we have that.
It just tastes like a whole bunch of powder on it. But
I've been lucky because, fans listen up in Canada and they sometimes will send me stuff. And some of my favorite things have been like just alternate Lay's chips that we can't get here that are like really good up there.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not saying send more, but I am saying that, I guess. Send more, I suppose.
Is Miss Vicky's a brand down there?
Yeah, we have them.
A brand called Miss. Okay.
Mhm.
All right.
Yeah, I think they
I like
started
Miss
up there,
Vicky
though,
chips.
right?
I'm partial to a Miss Vicky chip.
She's great. I mean, her chips are great.
Yeah,
I don't
she's
know
great,
anything.
too.
I don't know a thing about Miss Vicky herself. For all I know, it's a guy. I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying.
Yeah, it could be.
Well,
I
anyway.
don't know. I've never seen the mascot. It's true.
It's true. We're not going to pretend otherwise. All right, John, notwithstanding, we're going to get started. Talk about some other stuff when he gets here. But to start things off, we're going to talk about the big news of note this week. The Game Awards are happening tonight, and we are covering them. So this is going to be a little bit of a wild day. It's going to be this show, and then that'll finish up. Hopefully I have time to post it before all this happens. And then tonight or this evening at 5:30 my time, 7:30 Beau's time, the Game Awards happen, replete with trailers and controversy, I'm sure, because everyone's annoyed with the Game Awards every year, including us, and winners and losers and all that silliness. And we're going to do a co-stream of the entire thing. It's already scheduled and up on the YouTube channel. So if you're listening to this now, you maybe missed it, but we'll put the whole thing up there and keep it up there so it's public and you guys can see it.
I'm gonna try to be a little less of a butthole about new game announcements. I still feel really bad about Concord.
Oh yeah,
because I kind of poo-pooed it, but then I didn't want that fate to end up with that game. It was,
No, nobody wanted that.
Not that it's all on me, but I didn't like being associated. I thought maybe we'd be the only ones to have a laugh about it, and
nope. I think it's really unfortunate
very
because we haven't talked about them yet. We will here shortly, but the first 8 episodes of Secret Level came out on Amazon Prime, and the first 8 do not include the Concord one, which is coming. When that happens, yeah, they're still doing it. They're going to air it when the next 8 drop. Or is it 8? I think there's 15 total.
I think it's 8, 7 or 8. Yeah,
7 or 8 or something.
Half. It's 2 halves. I'm assuming 8 because 8 was got the first 8. There were 8 there.
Yeah.
So I assume the next it's 2 halves. I assume the next half is 8.
Yeah, I think that's right.
7 or 8. Yeah,
something like that. And we'll talk about those in a second. But I have a feeling tonight might make some reference to it. But Concord's interesting. Just the fact that it's no longer a game.
It's too bad the Game Awards don't do it in memoriam like most award shows. Because Concord would be on there.
Oh my gosh, why don't they do that? Have like a moment of silence for like all the games that got canceled? That's a great idea.
If I was in charge of VGAs, I'd do that. But if I was in charge, it'd probably be out of business a long time ago for burning bridges. But I would definitely do an in memoriam for.
Oh, I love
that. They should just do that as like a whole protest. Like the crew should be on there, like just to lampoon developers that don't do anything to preserve their games, so you can get them somewhere.
Yeah.
Just rip them. I guess they'd be there for hours, but
Yeah, that's true.
It's more of a bit than a thing.
They should have that weird trolly little Bill Clinton kid that comes up on stage and annoys everyone all the time. He should have a segment.
Oh, please. He's been gone. I'm not unhappy about it. I hope he doesn't show up to this thing.
He's got a podcast now because that's what happens. Everyone gets a podcast after a little bit of fame. And
yeah, good old. Well, not only do you get a podcast, that's just the start of your tour as a social media star. You have to get a Bitcoin.
Yeah, and then you got to have it
meme
fail.
Coin.
Yeah. Have it be
you
a scam.
heard that Hawktua girl has a coin now.
Yeah, and she's in trouble because the whole thing is some big.
They're
calamity.
all rug pools, but they just do it anyways, and it doesn't affect them.
Yeah, people are like, she's going to go to jail. I'm like, no, she isn't.
No. Is Logan Paul in jail? No.
No.
You know.
Any of these guys with their meme shit.
I think my government's suing Logan Paul for that shit.
Really?
And yeah,
How-
that's real. Yeah.
I noticed.
I mean,
yeah.
the Altman Bankman-Fried or whatever that guy's name is.
Alterman Bankman-Fried.
Whatever. Sam Bankman-Fried.
It's close. That's three names.
They all have like the same. All these crypto guys have like the same weirdo names.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I think he was a Canadian guy. He was in Canada. Oh no, at some point.
What'd you drop? We okay? You all right?
I was playing with my microphone and unscrewed the Shure clamp, and now it's.
Oh, the Shure clamp.
Sorry. Yeah. Stop playing with things.
I do this all the time. Don't feel bad.
One piece rolled away. I'm hoping it's not super essential. I'll go get it later.
Some crucial part of your microphones.
No, I thought maybe he was a Canadian guy. Maybe, I don't know, but we're definitely more consumer protection oriented than you are in the States. So when people do bullshit like that, there are consequences, right?
Mhm.
The Jordan Peterson guy is a Canadian. He got his license. Everyone in the States is like, what a wise guy. His entire profession in Canada is like, remove this moron from the profession, please.
Yeah, but look how glad he is we're stupid, because now he feeds off us and has a career.
Well,
still.
it's just the standards are higher here, and you can paint it as like authoritarian, but it most definitely is not an authoritarian place. I can tell Justin Trudeau to lick my balls.
Yep.
That's my right.
Lick my balls,
air,
Justin.
fine. Yep.
Exactly. Yep.
Not a, I can speak my piece. So yeah, anyways, not to get into a big political diatribe, all that to say, what were we talking about?
Balls
Hawk2Girl got a meme coin, and Canada's suing Logan Paul because of his meme coin.
There you go.
And the only question I guess we have is, when's the core meme coin coming? It definitely won't be a rug pull, because it won't have any value right from the jump.
No, it'll already be worthless. Yeah, exactly. If you guys all lose a penny, it'll be okay, I think. But yeah, I guess my original point was the game. Oh yeah, the Game Awards. We're gonna try to be.
I think we're still gonna laugh. I don't want to feel like we can't.
Oh,
laugh
we're gonna have
at
a good
stuff that
time.
was stupid.
We're gonna have a good time, no question.
But I just want to, I just don't want another Concord to happen.
No.
I feel bad about it.
No, I get it.
Just sometimes we can take it too far.
True
If
that.
John was here right now, he'd be like, "No, it's my American right to laugh at your products."
Probably. I mean, he's in Arizona. He's in Arizona. That's what he does. That's how they do it.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about this secret
Oh,
level
hang on.
stuff.
Whoa. No, before you move on, though, have you seen the Jason Schreier
Interview?
headline?
No.
Well, there's a headline posted that he's like, there's going to be 2 announcements at the show tonight.
Oh, at the Game Awards?
You're going to
Okay.
go,
Yeah.
oh my God, I can't believe it's finally here. And the speculation, of course, is that it's like Half-Life 3, but obviously that's stupid.
Yeah,
But
it won't be that.
What do you think? It's Jason Schreier we're talking about, so probably he's not pulling our chain and it's like Overcooked 3 or something.
He has notes. He has receipts.
It's not if it was Jeff Keighley saying that, I'd be like, oh, it's 2 Hideo Kojima games. That's like nobody, so it's not coming from Jeff Keighley, it's coming from Jason Schreier, which is an important detail.
Yeah. If I had to guess, all right, here's my guess. He says 2 big announcements, he says?
There's going to be 2 big announcements that you're going to go, I can't believe it's already here.
Okay, I'm going to guess I'm going to guess as far as big deal stuff. I'm going to say probably Witcher 4, because it's about time to show that. That's my guess, first guess. Total guess. I have nothing to base that on. I don't know. And then the other GTA 6 already got announced that it was, or there's rumors it got delayed again, so I don't think they do a GTA 6 thing.
I think we know about GTA 6, so unless they're bumping up the date of ship, I don't think that counts.
Okay, so the other one could be, oh geez, what would be a second one?
There's a lot of speculation Borderlands 4 might be an imminent launch, but I don't think...
Didn't they sort of announce that too, or that got leaked or talked about?
I feel like Jason Schreier would recognize that not as that big of a deal.
Yeah, I feel like that's true.
He's got his hand on the pulse of he's in touch with like what is like actually resonant with gamers. I don't think Borderlands 4 would be it, but I could be wrong.
Well, it's something everybody's chomping. So Witcher 4 is a new game. What's something everybody's chomping at the bit for that's like maybe a comeback or like those Bloodborne people are always claiming they got something coming on.
That would be insane. Like the next From Software title would be huge.
Oh, that would be big.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. I think that's a good guess.
Okay, it's as close as I got. Do you have any others that jump out? Maybe
I didn't have any. Honestly, I assume one of them is still a Hideo Kojima game.
Yeah, and that he'll be in it. Jeff will be in it.
Like Hideo's the mascot of the show. I mean, there's just no denying it.
He'll be there, right?
Yeah. There's definitely going to be a Hideo segment. Like that much is guaranteed.
Yeah.
But a part of me was like, probably Metroid Prime and 4 and a Hideo Kojima game, like Death Stranding 2 or whatever that oopsie game is that he's making with.
We could. I mean, you remember when we were supposed to get Nintendo's announcement? See, the thing is, Nintendo doesn't like to let other people do stage stuff. They want to do it themselves. So I worry about that. Like, it won't be like even Prime 4 could be like doing a Metroid game at the game, or maybe, but definitely not Switch 2. Some people.
Yeah, I mean, it's not likely, but that would be huge, right? Like that to me, it's like it's that level of like, when's it coming? Is it here? And you're gonna be like, holy shit, I can't believe it's here. Yeah. So Witcher 4, I think, was a great guess because we have, it's been dark on that. I think it's too early for that, probably still, but
yeah, I'm gonna say Witcher 4 teaser, but nothing much more than that. But it will be like their official first time they've said. I've
seen some Mass Effect guesses as well. Of course, there's the meme guesses, Silk Song. Like literally every live stream of every gaming live stream, whether it's PC, PlayStation, doesn't matter. The chat room was flooded with Silk Song, Silk Song, Silk Song.
Yeah. Why is that?
It's up there with Half-Life 3 in the meme category, which if you were just to meme the whole thing, it would be Half-Life 3 and Silk Song are the big announcements.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe Half-Life 3. There's a lot of Half-Life talk right now and a lot of stuff rolling over there.
Part of me wants to like just go all in and say, listen, I know it's getting announced and it's Half-Life 3, guys.
That'd be great.
What about Bloodborne on PlayStation 5?
Whoa! That's possible.
What do we think about that?
Well,
what are our thoughts on Bloodborne PS5?
Where is this voice coming from?
Yeah, this is magical.
Finally
John.
happening.
He's here. You know him. You love him. It's John. John, I'm glad you're back.
Does John look extra cool today?
You do look cool. What's that about? What's going on there?
This
you got new glasses?
This is the feeling you get when you have a sinus infection immediately following being sick for a month.
Great.
It's the glow.
Awesome. Yeah.
It's the glow that you get. Also, it's Christmas lights behind me. So, maybe that. Maybe it's...
That would help.
I'm going to go to the
festive.
clinic.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to the clinic and start making out with people.
Sweet.
With permission.
Do it.
There you go.
Lick some poles, do what you got to do.
Do it.
Oh, I'm going to lick the door handle at the clinic. That'll be a great spot.
So
John said, lick some pole.
So John's back. John, hi, welcome. It's a good thing we haven't gotten very far because I really did want to hear your prediction on what you think Schreier's referring to. He says 2 major announcements that everybody is going to be blown away by. Do you think I'm even near the right tree, let alone barking up it with Witcher 4?
Seems early, but I stand by Bloodborne. I said PS5. That's maybe not the biggest deal. PC is what I think I would go with.
PC Bloodborne.
Bloodborne PC.
I mean, that would make a lot of people happy. So
would make a lot of people very happy.
Yeah.
Just to catch you up now that you're back, John, because Scott and I had the plan of if you had anything you wanted to say about what we talked about when you got here.
Oh, okay.
Just to catch you up, basically we insulted China and in the pre-show.
Yeah.
And that's
it seems like a bad idea. A lot of people there. So lots of enemies you guys made. Maybe it's good that I distanced myself.
It's a little more nuanced than we insulted China, but
yeah, we didn't insult China, but we played with fire.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. We danced around with some fire, and then so that was pre-show.
Good that I wasn't here for that.
That's for patrons.
Probably good.
I'll send you a copy of that so you can hear the.
All right, excellent.
And then since we've been live, or proper, I don't think anything controversial has come up that John needs to address.
We just talked about the Game Awards, and that's it. You are contributing.
Did you hold off on Terrifier 3 talk because you couldn't talk about it?
Yes, I held off because I need you there for that. Yeah, I don't want to talk to anybody, but I mean, I would talk to Bo if he'd seen it, but I need to talk to you about it because you are Lord of all you survey when it comes to Terrifier movies. And I have things to say about it. Mostly good, mostly positive.
Yeah.
Oh my god, chat room, don't tattle on me.
What are
What a
they
bunch of tattlers.
What'd they
Bo
say?
dropped
I
the
dropped
F-bomb.
an F-bomb in a
Oh yeah, he did. That's true.
Oh man.
I had somebody
What are we
accuse,
doing?
I had somebody accuse me of dropping the C word on a show, and I can't find it. And I don't ever use that word, so I don't know what they're talking about.
C-word, like Clementine?
No, the other one that the British like so much. They love.
Oh, right,
Did you
right.
maybe
Remember
say
the
can't, but with a funny accent?
I maybe said.
I simply can't retrieve that.
There you go. I almost did
I
it.
couldn't retrieve that.
There you go. See, I promise I didn't, but I'm gonna still try to find it.
I wanted to
I
grab
couldn't
it,
cast
but I
that
can't.
It's worse that it was emphasized, but anyway. So okay, Witcher 4, I say, is happening. John thinks so. My lock is Witcher 4, at least a teaser. John's lock is, sorry, it made me think of Lost. John Locke. John's lock is Bloodborne, PC or
Gotta
otherwise.
open the hatch, Jack. You gotta be a man of faith.
You got to get in there, and then you put an orange peel in your mouth and smile. That's what you do.
Me.
And then, Bo, your lock. What do you think your lock?
My final locks are Hideo Kojima 2 and Half-Life 3.
The second Kojima.
I want you to be so right on the last one on Half-Life 3. I don't
I'm
really.
saying it just on the if that does come true, I'm gonna look awesome, even though it's like a 1 in a million shot.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, for sure. Well, anyway, that's tonight. We'll be doing it live in various states of probably tiredness, given how much content that is. It's always a little taxing. And, expect some laughter, some fun, and, our willingness to call stuff out that's stupid. We'll keep that
I also
going.
bought chocolate-covered almonds for the occasion.
Oh, nice. I got this dehydrated bowl of chicken. We can,
Oh,
Great.
yeah. We forgot to tell John about the
Well, yeah, I have
the
dehydrated chicken.
household protocol of dehydrating everything.
My wife is way into dehydrating things right now, and she made a bunch of chicken. You can hear it in here. It's just like wood, but I really like it. It's basically it's key. It's preserved forever now. This could just sit out
It's
for
probably
months.
really good for a sinus infection.
Yeah, John.
Please, anything at this point. I'm doing everything, you guys, to try and deal with this because I hate it.
Are you doing a
I
spray
hate
of any
it.
sort? And you
Yeah,
kinda
the
like,
only good thing about this right now is I can get my voice real deep.
yeah.
In a world where all of a sudden John's voice can go super deep,
Whoa.
we can all of a sudden talk like this.
Can we have
I'm
that
gonna send-
in place of Grandma today for the wrap up?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's get that guy. I'm also gonna send you a bunch of sides.
Yeah, now's the time. If you want me to say something with a cool, deep voice, this is the window for it.
Yeah.
It's hopefully a short window.
Yeah, no, as short as possible, please.
But it does allow me to get real low.
Way down
You should
there.
record your subscription notifications. Like, thank you for subscribing to my channel.
Oh yeah.
Thanks for subscribing. I'm not streaming right now because I'm sick AF.
That's pretty good. You should do. You know what? We should get him to do the Deadly Boss Mod freaking voice pack. That's what we should do.
Run away, little girl.
Run away.
Oh my god, I can feel that.
I
in my
know.
Spine.
I can too. Split that
Oh,
wave of.
I don't know if they tell you guys I recorded my own weak chorus, so it's my voice going like
Captain, we're under attack.
Wait, you're talking to yourself?
That's great.
yeah. Well, it's like counting up stacks. It goes 1, 2, 3, 4, rampage.
Oh my
and then
gosh.
I use voice changer to make it lower and stuff. It's pretty awesome.
That's actually really cool.
I'd replace it with John's though. John has a better voice for that kind of stuff than I do.
Well, right now he does for sure.
Yeah. It doesn't last long, but right
Yeah.
now it's all right.
I like it. Well, all right.
I'll be back to Mike Morheim in no time.
Yep. Well, watch out, Mike. I'm coming for you there, buddy.
Hello, China.
Wait, what are some other Mike Morheim lines?
Hello, China.
Yeah, let's hear. You got another Mike Morheim you want to slam on us? Land on us?
What is it he says all the time?
What's up, BlizzCon?
Yeah, it is.
Another great year here
Yeah.
at Blizzard Entertainment.
I love it. Well, anyway, let's talk about the greatest thing in the world. Okay, I'm gonna be a real pain in the ass about this for a while, and I apologize in advance if you think I
You're
suck.
in the right place for this. This is the right show.
I'm in a
The
safe
all-
place.
the maximum pain. Maximum pain.
I didn't expect it to be so cool, and so I'm blown away. I couldn't stop talking about it. I was almost brought to tears. I liked it so much. And that is to say the first 8 episodes of Secret Level. And I'm not just talking about 1 or 2. I'm talking about I love the whole thing. Let me give you just a tiny background, though, to help some of this make sense, and then we'll get into the grit here. ever since I was a kid, I've been addicted to things that I at the time were called animation festivals, and they used to show up at these local theaters when I was very young. There was a theater called the Blue Mouse, and we would all go over there, buy tickets, and then you would sit through 2 hours of really weird, sometimes not weird, but mostly weird experimental animation shorts. Everything from the first Pixar thing before they were even called Pixar to weird shorts that I'll just never forget. The Cat Came Back. I remember that one really for some reason. Just huge fan. And then I would go as much as I could and then jump ahead. You're in the 90s now. And in the 90s, you had Liquid Television, another version of this, right? Just loved it. And some years ago, prior to the pandemic, when the Netflix announced this Love, Death, and Robots series, and it's these same creators that are doing the secret level stuff, those start, and I love those. Like, adore them. They're my favorite thing. And yes, there's some that are really out there and strange and people don't like as much, and there's some really likable stuff. I like it all. I don't discriminate. I just love experimental short form storytelling, animated, 3D, traditional. I don't care how you do it. I'm just a massive fan of this sort of thing. So jump ahead. I heard when we first talked about it on the show, Secret Level was coming. I heard it was the same guys working on it as showrunners as Love, Death, and Robots, so I got really excited. But I also was kind of tempering my expectations because it's games, and a lot of these IPs are tightly controlled, and I didn't know how much creativity was going to get out, or, I just didn't know what to expect from it. It has exceeded every expectation I have. It gets very weird with some of them, traditional with others, and amazing, even more amazing with some. And absolutely, this is my favorite thing of 2024 to happen to me. I love this stuff so much because, it tweaks all these little buttons I've had since I was a kid and just brings it all current, and it's stuff that I already love, and it's in gaming. And they didn't just simply go, here's a fun cinematic that's basically the game, It's not. It's more than that. In every single case, which we'll get into the individual ones, but I will say this, that Warhammer 40K thing got into my veins. Like, it blew me away. I was shaking during it because I don't feel like we're worthy of such cool freaking work to have happen around an IP like that. And part of it is I'm already a huge sucker for the vibe and the milieu of all things Warhammer 40K, except for painting minis and doing the tabletop. But everything video game related and story related, I'm a huge fan. I've read a bunch of the books. I love that stuff. This thing was like a gift. Just a gift. Handed down. You think I was annoying and obnoxious about Mad Max Fury Road. You guys have no idea what you're in for the next couple years. I love this stuff that much.
Maybe finish playing Space Marine 2, because it's like that short, except it's a game that you also play.
Well, sure, and I will, and I mean to. I don't know why I haven't yet, but I need to. I have the thing. I don't know why I haven't finished it, because I love that first game, and I love what I played so far this one. And they patched some stuff that makes things better, so I don't know why I haven't finished it, but I'll get back to it. This will probably inspire me to get back to it, like, right away. But when I saw that short, let's talk about that one just real quick. Freaking...
Yeah, let's start with that one. That one's a good one to start with.
All you needed to do... They had me when they put Titus's name up, so I'm like, oh, sweet. This has got Titus in it, so some connected to the games. It's not just the tabletop like the D&D one was mostly, which I also really liked.
Also felt a little connected to Darktide, at least in that I think those are Nurgleites.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
They're fighting.
Yeah, bit of that.
But of course, it's not as hard as Darktide because they just kind of, they get eviscerated pretty easily at one point.
Yeah, it kind of showed what would happen if you played a Space Marine in Darktide.
Yeah.
Would be a very different experience.
Yeah.
It looks like easy mode. Like, they're literally like shoot him in the head, and he's just like, and he squeezes his head, like, just pops it.
Yeah. And
it was awesome.
The whole, like, I had the most epic back and forth with Metzen because he was watching him roughly the same time as me, and we know what a nut he is about 40K. And I wasn't really sure what those... He wrote it down. He sent this. Where is it? Combat was cool. Changeling... That's a changeling, then. The thing that was screwing with their minds. The kind of vampire thing. I don't want to give anything away for people who haven't seen this stuff yet. It's hard to spoil, though. It's stuff's so weird.
There's not a lot to give away. It's more of a visual.
Yeah.
It's more of a visual thing. It's not really like and here's a crazy twist.
Yeah, it's
It's
not
like
like
an extended trailer, like that looks badass. I mean, if you've seen anyone who's watched Warhammer and has seen the Astartes short,
Mhm.
it's that but cooler. Like, just it looks better.
yeah.
It's a different scenario, but it's like you're going for the same thing. It's Space Marines on a mission.
Yeah, and that's that guy. Same guy got to direct that. Who did that Astartes
Right.
thing?
You can tell because the way he directs like violence is that there's like these.
Man.
It's fast, but then there's pauses,
Yeah.
which like lets you absorb what's happening, and then things happen super quickly, and you're like, huh?
Yeah.
And then it pauses again, but it just looks really cool. And they're like, there's a minimalist to the motion they do. Like they have this giant power armor, so it's not like they got to sweat a whole bunch to kill guys. Like they just make very small movements and annihilate things.
Just wreck the place.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. See, because I'm watching it on mute right now while you were talking, just because I wanted to see it again. The guy who shoots him in the head, he just headbutts the guy, and the guy's head explodes on his metal.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
just wrecks
like,
him with a
that's
headbutt.
awesome.
Wrecks him with a headbutt. It's so good. Yeah, I mean, it's very visceral, very violent, very bloody. It's probably the bloodiest one. I don't know. The Pac-Man one was pretty bloody, but anyway, which may sound like
Pac-Man's surprisingly bloody.
yeah, that may be a weird thing to hear, but we'll get to that in a minute. I also a lot of people are really torn on that one. Not me. I think it's rad. I love where it went. Anyway, it is. It also, I think, had the most emotional heft. This Warhammer one, which is hard to do because
I don't know about that.
well, okay, I know the one you like the most, and I agree with you that it was awesome, but it's also
I don't know if I would even put it in the top 3 most emotional.
really.
Yeah,
Right.
Look, I like it. It's probably my second favorite of the shorts
Yeah.
of all of them. We can talk about my favorite one in a minute,
Yeah.
but I think that visually it's probably my favorite in terms of like cool stuff they're showing you. It's probably my favorite. I thought the storytelling was good, but it was kind of basic. It kind of was like a cinematic.
Yeah.
It was like a really, really epic cinematic in a game. That's what it was.
I agree with you there. I think that's important to note here, and this may say a lot about why I feel the way about Fury Road that I do. There's a simplicity to it that is part of why I love it, and I think that's why that worked for me so much.
Well, I think maybe we're just talking. You guys are splicing hairs on terms. Like I don't think the content's inherently emotional, but that doesn't mean what you saw didn't move you and made you feel something.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
That's
So-
true.
For sure.
So
yeah.
like it is very like intense, and if you're a fan of this IP, you don't really get a lot of good stuff with this. Like if you're a Marvel fan, it's just like, yeah, you got good movies and bad movies and like tons of books and stuff. Like visual wise, 40K has not been represented too much.
Mhm.
And the games are all over the place quality wise, but this cinematic, I don't know, it just delivers on the promise that the earlier cinematic did with a smaller budget. Like it,
Yeah, I agree.
it's really
Just
good.
really-
Incredibly badass.
Yeah, it's very
Like-
badass, and if you have even just a passing interest in Warhammer 40K, the Space Marine vibe and all that, this just goes places, and it also literally goes places. It goes places I haven't seen in that world. I loved how dark it got and weird it got, and by the end, there was a twist. I call it a twist, but there is a little bit of a twist. I won't explain it, but it worked for me, and there's a scene at the very final scene. The last thing you see is the most satisfying ending of most of these. I think the Unreal Tournament one comes close, but as the most satisfying final moment of all of these things, it just really resonated with me. But also, I'll just say there's a thing in a box, and I won't tell you what, but I love what
Can we
I
not do
love it.
spoilers on this? I think it's fine to talk spoilers.
Is it?
though.
Is it?
We got a lot of people saying, "Please don't." Spoil
Yeah, I don't
it."
want to spoil it. It's
I
not.
mean,
It
all of
isn't
them,
a.
but the Warhammer one. Come on,
I don't
like,
want to spoil that
it's
one
like
because
18 minutes. It's not like a 2-hour movie.
I don't
It's
think
like,
it's. I don't think it's
Like, if you're
necessary
listening to
to
this
spoil
show-
it.
yeah, I
you're
don't think.
listening to
I
this
think.
show.
I don't think we
We have a
need to.
3-hour. We have a 3-hour show, guys.
Yeah.
They can pause the show. Take it, the actual running time of the Warhammer thing is 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's 10 minutes is all. It's short.
Go watch the 10-minute Warhammer thing and come back.
Yeah,
It's like-
I guess so, but I don't know if there's a lot of value in revealing what's in the box. I just love that they did it. I love,
Yeah.
and I
Well,
love.
I was gonna talk about what was in the box, but
Oh, you do want to talk? Well,
I don't have anything amazing to say. I loved what was in the box.
yeah, that's all we'll say. You'll see it when you see it.
I was like, but of course that's what's in the box because what is in there is
Wonderful.
something they'd rather not have, but have to have to
Yes!
fight the enemy they have.
Yes,
So, you know.
because the Space Marines do not like that faction, and neither does that faction. And the way that they do that is so great.
It's not even the faction. Like, nobody likes the chaos. Like, in the realm of 40K,
Yeah.
the warp is bad.
Right.
There's nothing good. All of the crazy, terrible bullshit comes from the warp. And
Right.
so anything having to do with the warp is bad. Like, they're fighting it.
That's why they're down there, right? They're down there to fight a very bad part of the warp, or part of the chaos, which is kind of, think of it as their magic, I guess. But they I'm just saying, all praise the Omni Messiah. That's all I'll say. All right. And then, then I just cannot say enough about it. I've seen it 3 times now. I'm going to watch it a 4th today, and probably many more after that. I cannot wait to watch this with my kids. They're all excited. I can't wait to sit down and go, you guys just sit still. We're watching all 8 of these in a row, and then however many the next ones come out. This stuff is just made for me. So, John, let's go to your actual favorite, which...
Well, hold on. I do want to say one thing about the Warhammer.
Go ahead.
one.
Yeah.
And I don't think this is a spoiler because it's not. They don't even overtly say this, so I feel safe saying this. But like, my experience with the Warhammer one was, it started and I was like, okay, it's going to be different from Space Marine 2. Because at first I thought, well, maybe this is going to tie into Space Marine 2 because that's the game that just came out, right?
Right.
And then it started off and I was like, oh no, it looks like it's going to be something different. Saw Titus's name show up on the screen. I was like, oh no, maybe this is going to be like a cool prequel thing. And then I saw Titus walk out with the Laurel of Victory, and I got so stoked.
Yep.
If you know, you know, and if you don't know, play Space Marine 2.
Yeah.
And I was like, that made me even more excited. I was like, I know when this is. Like,
Yeah.
it's one of those things where you start to put the context of everything together, and you're like, oh, I know what this means.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have to come out and say like, hey, this is what this means.
Yep.
Just visual storytelling. I immediately knew when this was taking place and what it all meant and all of that.
Yeah.
And that was really exciting to me. I like when they do stuff like that.
It's also important to note that if you've never played Warhammer games, don't have any connection to the thing, I mean, your mileage may vary on whether you like the tone of Warhammer, but you can watch these and not feel like you've missed a bunch of homework. They're going to stand on their own as these short films, but it doesn't hurt. Like John says, like to know what that meant in that moment is a big it adds to it for sure.
Right. I'll say the Armored Core one is very cool visually. Helps a lot if you know the lore of Armored Core.
Big time. Or if you like Keanu Reeves a lot, that helps too.
I like
Also
the Armored
helps.
Core one, but yeah, I didn't get anything in it, but it was still good to watch.
I loved it.
Yeah.
Loved that one. That's right up there too in my list of favorites. It was awesome. I thought the mocap on some of these were unbelievable tech. Like the one, like Crossfire is the game I have the least connection to. I've never played it. I know it's huge in Asia. But it's basically an extraction shooter, and also they have a mode that's like a battle royale and all that. It's really big in certain markets. But their segment was just so viscerally real. There were times I'm just forgetting this is 3D animation. And I know a lot of it is mocap, so it's less animation and more capturing and then translating into 3D movement and stuff. But it's so good at that there were many times where I was like, oh yeah, right. This is an animated short, not a live action freaking, movie. So that one that impressed me on a technical
I actually
level.
really enjoyed the Crossfire one too. And there's a part of me that's like, I don't want to watch Crossfire.
Yeah.
Watch a bunch of dudes shoot each other.
Free to play.
But in a way, I think some of these, even if you don't like the game, I'll just say it. I thought the Crossfire one was pretty good. And I thought the New World one, which I have zero desire to play New World. I played it for about an hour. That was it for me. I had no interest beyond that. I loved the New World one. It's not my favorite.
Yeah.
But I found it. It's another one where I'm like, that has a complete narrative arc.
Yeah.
and a very touching, interesting narrative arc. Like, I really, really liked the New World one, and not just because they got Arnold to come in and do the voice.
It also showed they were willing to have some humor and some fun with this, and not just be
it was a tone change, which it felt like it needed, because I do think there's a temptation for all of these to fall into dark, gritty, and edgy, and this one was fun and lighthearted and sentimental by the ending, and I thought that was a nice change up that the show kind of needed.
Yeah.
By the time it showed up,
I think Arnold is. I'm both happy he's there, and then also think he's not your best choice, but also that's a celebrity get that you wouldn't turn down. But I also think he's not great,
not well performed.
Yeah,
but it also is a perfect embodiment of what they're selling, right?
Yeah, that's how I felt.
It kind of goes back to, and I know you don't like this, so I'm selling this to the wrong audience. I have shown up in Alaska selling ice. I understand. But it's like how anime, when they want to convey an emotion, they overdo it. Like if somebody's embarrassed, blood shoots out their nose. You know, they fall over and their legs go up in the air. It's a gross exaggeration of how you feel. It's a metaphor almost.
Yeah.
I feel a lot of that from Arnold's casting. He doesn't perform that role as well as maybe certain other actors would have. But by it being Arnold, it tells you more than not having him.
I actually agree with that. I liked it. I was expecting that to. I even played a Turnham recently, the patched up new version relaunch thing. It's okay. It's all whatever. It's New World. If you like it, you like it. But I didn't expect much from this one. I was kind of like, oh, where's this gonna go? It's a MMO. That's hard. And it made me laugh. There's some heart in there, some crazy uncanny valley happening, not because it looks bad, but because it looks so good. There's a little bit of that kind of across the board, to be honest. More stylistically stuff, the more stylistic stuff, which we'll get to in a minute, like the Sifu one and that, I think that works better as a art form because you're just less thinking about how realistic a face is, or when they do get an expression just slightly off, it doesn't throw you into the uncanny valley. So there's a little bit of that one in this one, but I also really liked it. I thought it was also fun, and they didn't do a lot of fun in these.
Yeah,
and I
didn't
not
a lot of fun ones.
And I didn't expect the fun or lightheartedness because you don't really get that in Love, Death, and Robots. They are also dominated by dark, gritty, dystopian. But I love dark, gritty, and dystopian. I also like when they will stick one in that's kind of funny. And those seasons all had one or two of those as well. So this is theirs for that. So it actually is exactly what I should have expected is they would have some lighthearted moment, but most of this would be, gritty and weird and different. And I guess that's what I love is everybody went all out. It wasn't just safe stuff like the Warcraft movie felt too safe on both the studio side and Blizzard side. Everybody's just being too careful, and it muddies it and makes it saccharine and kind of not great. And these all were just like, nope, whatever our theme is, we're going all the way. Warhammer, we're not going to go freaking nuts. This is going to be the most Warhammer-ass thing you've ever seen in your life. The Unreal Tournament one, unapologetically UT 99. Like, let's go. They even... we'll get into that in a sec. They do so much stuff in that one that is just like aimed right at my shooter life in 1999, 2000. And they nail it. But it's like they're not afraid. None of these were afraid to go places. And I really appreciated that about the entirety of this. All 8 of them. Pac-Man in particular. And I know some people really hate that one. I think it's rad.
It's probably my least favorite, but I liked it.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to rank them, I guess I'd put it toward the bottom.
Something's going to be on the bottom, and it would be Pac-Man for me, but I liked it.
I need their willingness to do weirdness for the sake of it to stay. I don't want them to feel pressure. Because think about it. If you're like, well, what are they going to do for Pac-Man? It's going to be a little yellow guy running around eating dots, and then... and you would probably be right most of the time. That's boring and expected. What they did was not expected.
Yeah.
It was the least expected thing I'd seen all day. So, I just think there's props due for that. Can we talk about Unreal now?
Yeah, let's talk about my favorite one, the Unreal Tournament one.
Yeah,
which I imagine has to rank pretty high up for you too, Scott.
Oh, it's easily 2, number second.
Yeah.
Number 2, I should say. Number second. That's
We're
not a way of
just
saying that.
number the second.
Number the second.
Ah.
It's really cool. So before we get into the kind of structure of it, it's important to note that it is almost a beat for beat retelling of the origin of the tournament and the origin of the rebellion of the AI. So they didn't go too far off script with that. The robots look very different than they do in the games. This stylistically anyway, which I'm totally fine with. It's not a problem, but the story is pretty much the story, which I both liked and had forgotten, to be honest. I'd forgotten how that went. So them choosing to do that was really interesting, I thought. And they decided to even have the countdowns be the voice from 99.
Yeah.
Double
That
kill.
was nice.
All that stuff without overdoing
they even
it.
did the double kills and
Yep. Flawless. Something.
First blood.
Yeah, first blood. A lot of first bloods. Violent, but not like overly violent. More like the game violence, which is whatever.
They snuck facing worlds in there a little bit.
How they constructed maps was genius, I thought. This isn't a spoiler. The way it works is it's a giant arena. And when they're ready to go, the arena like goes like all this hydraulic stuff and creates a map to play on. And they had 2 references: Morpheus, which was the building looking one with multiple levels with open walls. They had that, and they had Facing Worlds basically without the flags. And
the spinning space that if you look at, you start to get a little nauseous.
Oh yeah, that thing. People used to get sick watching that. My wife did when we tried to play it together. Anyway, talk more, John, about what you liked about that one and why it's at the top of your list.
For me, it isn't as cool looking as Warhammer. It doesn't have quite as badass things in it as Warhammer. So as you can tell, these two are kind of neck and neck for me. But what I really liked about it is it did tell a full story. Opening with this robot uprising and how a robot went from, being something that this tournament was constructed to punish to being a top hero tournament champion.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was a really cool narrative arc to tell in a very short story in a very short amount of time. It's like watching Gladiator on fast forward.
Mm-hmm.
Basically the same thing.
Yeah.
And in addition to that, also a ton of nostalgia. I don't know if I could be subjective about them all. But like, to me, it just hit so nostalgic. Hearing the announcer, seeing the weapons, going, I've shot those guns before.
Oh my gosh, dude. Flat
I know what
cannons.
they do.
Yeah.
I know what they do.
Yep.
And it's not that I don't have nostalgia for Warhammer. I just played Space Marine 2 and loved it. But that's nostalgia from this year. And this is nostalgia from 1999.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it just hit a little harder, and I was just like, oh my god, please everybody like this so Unreal Tournament can come back.
That was the first thought I had. I see my first flat cannon. I see that sniper weapon. I see the guy who's like the head honcho bad guy that's doing what she says to do. I see all these faces. I see this stuff, and I go, you are really invoking the game here. Like, you're not messing around. The rest of these can kind of fiddle about, but you guys are like really evoking an Unreal Tournament. I hope you're working on one. I want this to be a tease that, hey, this was rad, wasn't it? Good news too. We're back into it. We've taken all our Fortnite money and we're going to go nuts now with Unreal. I would be
well, they
so
did
happy.
They did put 2 of the characters from the short in Fortnite.
Yeah.
Along with weapons and armor and stuff, and gave it a Unreal Tournament category. Interestingly enough, Zen, not one of the characters they put in, which makes me think they're saving him for down the line potentially.
Ooh.
So I don't know. To me, I'm like, okay, you've done your short. The head of Epic acknowledged that you can get Unreal Tournament for free off archive.org, and that Epic is okay with that.
Yep.
Like, they're 100% okay with you doing that, and like that's where you can go and do it. And now they've got a short, they've got that, they've got some stuff added to Fortnite of all places. Let's go. Let's get this train rolling. Let's all get back into Unreal Tournament again.
I'm ready. I'm so ready. I love that game so much. I knew we shared that particular passion, so I knew there would be. I was watching it and going, "Oh, John's gonna love this one."
Yeah. The only thing that would have made it better is if all of a sudden they said, "We need to get this more deadly. Turn on Instagib," and it's just a bunch of lasers blowing people up.
Oh man, low gravity Instagib mode.
Yep.
That would be perfect. Bo, did you see this one? You got through.
I only watched 4 of them. I did watch the Unreal Tournament one. It was okay.
Yeah, you don't have the
it's all right.
nostalgia for it that we have, probably.
Yeah, I didn't. It was good, but yeah, I don't have the nostalgia factor with that one.
No, I get it. We are all playing that game when it comes. If they make a real, I'll go play the old one with you guys. But it just put me in the mood. I want some arena ass. Give me a rocket launcher with 3 loaded rockets in it. Give me a flat cannon. I'm ready to roll. I'm ready to play.
Yeah, I spent the whole short doing the DiCaprio point. Like, he loaded multiple rockets.
Yeah.
Look at,
Yeah, totally. We're not going to go through each one of these in detail. I think people should see the Pac-Man one on their own terms.
Still one we haven't talked about.
Oh yeah, we'll get there. Let's get the first one. You want to do that one, the D&D one?
I want to talk about what I think is my favorite one, which is the Dungeons and Dragons one.
Nice.
I loved that one.
That's my
third
third favorute.
Yeah.
They called it the
Landed on
Queen's
my
Cradle.
third favorite.
Yeah.
They called it the Queen's Cradle, but they should have called it the stuff we left out of the movie. Because all the awesome shit is here that wasn't in the film.
Yeah.
You got a cool villain guy. You've got, if you like dragons, this video will serve you. I really like the cast of the party in this.
I did too.
Like
I hate.
the
You know how I don't
gotta-
like. You know how I don't like halflings and little races and stuff.
No, she's awesome.
She
Protect her at all
turned me into a fan. Like I'm not kidding. I came out of this going, I've been too hard on halflings.
Yeah, but even I'm not a big fan of the paladins, and I like the paladin in this one.
Yeah, they
She's
did
awesome.
make the paladin really cool, which is sometimes very hard to do.
Yeah, complex.
Yeah, and the dwarf, I was like trying to figure out. I'm like, what class is this guy? And then when he gets into combat, you're like, oh shit, he's a. Is this spoiler to talk about classes?
He's a monk. He's a monk,
No,
and I
he's a
thought of
monk.
you.
You can say
He's doing
monk.
monk shit, and I'm like, oh yeah, like he does the big thing for monks. Like I think I did get it at level 2 or 3 is missile reflection, right?
Mhm.
Which remember was the thing that happened in There Will Be Dungeons when Hope shot a rocket at a monk and she flinged it back at her.
Yeah.
Killed her.
Yeah.
Nearly killed her.
First thing I
Which
thought
started the whole Stanley's becoming a doctor arc
Yep.
in the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was fist pumping when he did the reflect move. I was like, that's awesome. And he didn't do the reflect bounce. He did the catch it and do a pirouette and throw it back,
Mhm.
which is the superior way to throw arrows back at enemies.
It's also the most heroic of all these things. It's the one where you're like, yeah, you would band together. Yes, this paladin would want to help this kid. Yes, that kid realizes his potential and will stay with the group's going to protect him now. They're not leaving him. Like there's this
Right.
the
they're
feeling
good
of
guys.
D&D,
Yeah.
the feeling of D&D that these guys are out doing good in this hard world. That was really conveyed really well.
Yes.
I love that.
But also, I don't know if Dragon Beef's going to enter the room, but by far, I love a good dragon, and particularly, I love good guy dragons.
Yeah.
And we have a good guy dragon here, which is awesome. There's not
Yeah.
enough like just depictions. Dragons are always formidable foes, or maybe they're good, but they're uncontrollable forces of nature. No, they're sophisticated creatures, and some of them are just great people, great allies to have on your team. And there's a good guy dragon in this, and I was fist pumping for that too, because I'm like, badass good guy dragon.
Yep. I agree.
So this I think I really like the 40K one. It's like picking between your children, but I really appreciated the D&D one because I just feel validated on my movie opinions mostly. I'm just like, yes, this is what I want the movie to be. Like they can do it. It exists. It's possible.
Yeah. That kind of movie,
so-
that kind of movie is, I wouldn't turn it down. I would love it if they just did a real, I mean, I love the comedy thing. I thought that movie was great. I know we differ on that, but it's not that I don't think they couldn't do this. I think this is more risky in like a 2-hour movie. And I don't mean animated even, just do this sort of story. is
Sure.
risky because we would love it, gamers love it, all that. But how do you get the broader audience? I just know it's risky to spend all that money to make a movie.
Yeah,
like
I
that.
know it's a big ask, but what they're cooking here was really good. It's just a nice, diverse, interesting cast of characters. Yeah, everybody's like mysterious or cool. It is very short, so they got to cram it all in a short amount of time. But it just
They got
was
in a
very-
tiny hut.
Yep, they
The
did.
tiny hut
Yep.
was in there. The
Yeah, I
dome.
thought of you, dude.
Well,
Thought of
Yeah.
John.
There's a lot of nods to spells. There's a polymorph in there as well. Like there's a lot of nods to like moves in D&D without it feeling.
Didn't they
like,
do a
oh,
snail too?
That was
it
the
a snail
that
in
was the
there?
polymorph. Yeah,
there's the polymorph into a
Because
snail.
that was what I did in the campaign as well.
you did a snail. I don't
Yeah.
remember that. I guess
Yeah,
you
I did a snail. It was something we needed something slow,
Oh,
so I
that's
made it a
right.
snail.
I think they've been listening to our show. They also did. I love the reference to concentration spells because it was done in a
It is-
perfect way. The way they did it, they were basically like, "We need to get in there," and she goes, "Stop! I need to concentrate." And I'm like, yeah, "That's right, you do. Don't interrupt that spell." Like I love mechanics when they're conveyed dramatically in a way that isn't cringy, and this
Yeah.
this did that. I thought.
Yeah, and also it ended on a sad note because, gods are hard to beat. And
Still hopeful.
I don't know. It's just
hopeful
perfect.
note. Sad note, but hopeful. I thought there at the end.
Yeah.
No, it's sad. That I know what the stat block is. I know what the combat rating of TM of that is. That's a team. That's a party kill.
That's a
That's
wipe. That's a wipe.
it's a 100% party kill. So a TPK that's happening there. 100. If you took away that it was hopeful, it's because they made it so ambiguous that you could read it that way. But like if you literally know the stat block, there's no way these characters are surviving.
Yeah, but it was the right thing to do, and that means something, even in the face of certain death. And not is it just the right thing to do in world when that happens. Let's say that they are wiped, that this is the end of a massive campaign. Now cut to a table surrounded by friends eating Cheetos, laughing and going, "Man, that was an epic ending. What an incredible!" Like that's the vibe I got from the whole thing.
Yeah, it's good. I'm not saying a bad thing. I'm just saying it's fun that they also ended it not with like, oh, the good guys won. They left it ambiguous, but it's like
Bo
It
doesn't
felt pretty-
believe in hope.
No,
it felt pretty clear to me that's what I'd want to do if I wanted to make my players sad.
yeah,
It's like, oh, you didn't prevent the thing from happening. Here's the world-ending event. Enjoy.
it's when everyone gets a new GM or DM, not GM.
Yeah, we have find one that still has light behind their eyes.
Exactly. I also really like the Sifu episode. It's a game I actually played a little bit of, and so I knew about that little talisman mechanic that would disappear and pop it between runs. I don't want to say much about that one because I think that one's worth watching. I think the stylistic art is really cool. It's got it's just a really fun martial arts short little trip that goes some cool places and made me hungry for dumplings. And if you
Yeah,
want,
definitely did that too.
yeah, I thought that one was cool. Let's see. Any others of note here? We talked about that one. Warhammer. After Pac-Man, you had the Crossfire. Oh, Armored Core was the 8th. Just a couple more things to say about that. It is very gritty, very dystopic, very cool that Keanu Reeves is in it. I thought the performance capture in that is exceptionally cool. I thought that was really great. And I'd watch a whole series of that shit. Just bring that to a TV near me.
I'd watch a
Yeah.
whole series of most of these.
Yeah, I would too. Yeah.
I mean, definitely the 40K, D&D, and Armored Core were among my favorites.
Yeah,
So-
I'd watch Where Do We Go Now in the Unreal Tournament world because I want to know more
Yeah,
about that.
I do want to see the continuation of that. Like, how do they evolve that? How does that what does that turn into?
Yeah, all of these had that vibe, which I think you want. You want to feel like I want to see more. And that's the point of these, but also to be kind of epic in their own little way. I just absolutely loved it. Just to put a pin on it, I can't wait for the next ones. I don't know how they're going
I
to
mean,
do.
that's the best news is that we don't have that long of a wait. It's like what, next week we get the next
7 or
BEAU?
something or 5,
Yeah,
whatever
I think
it is.
it's like 7 more or something like that.
Yeah, Mega Man, John.
Oh,
Mega Man.
I'm so excited for Mega Man, you guys.
What do you
I'm
think
so
they're doing
excited.
there? Have we seen screens or anything? We don't even know.
No, I
think it
saw
was a
the
screen trailer,
trailer.
too.
I saw the trailer for Mega Man.
Oh, was there stuff in that? I didn't see it.
Yeah. yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, just put it in my veins. Sign me up for
Everybody's
this shit.
curious about the Concord one, but again, I think like while it is interesting, it is kind of fun to meme on it. You know, we're sitting here raving about, well, Scott and I are, the Unreal Tournament one. It's not like they're putting out Unreal Tournament games.
Yeah.
It's not like there's a brand new game to tie to that, or Mega Man, or anything like that. So I get where the memes are coming from, but it's not like any of these come with a prerequisite that there has to be a game you can immediately play right now.
Yeah.
In order for the short to exist.
That's maybe what I'm most excited about with something like the Concord one, is having seen these now and seeing the artistry on display. It's not going to matter to me. I don't care. Just show me a cool 10-minute story. I don't care if it's Concord. I know it's hard to shed that baggage, but I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
This is great. This stuff is great. Keep making it. And while you're at it, new seasons of Death, Love, and Robots, please. Because I love those two. I love this stuff.
Is it the same like people?
Same showrunners and creators and stuff. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. And it's partly. It's also tied to what's his name? Who directed Seven? What's wrong with my brain?
David Fincher.
David Fincher's connected to all this somehow. He's helping make it happen.
Oh, okay.
So.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, hey man, maybe hopefully this does well and we get a second season.
Oh, please.
Any games you want them to give the treatment to, or do you just want to see more of what we got?
I think it'd be cool to see World of Warcraft do something that's like blows our minds and is not what we expect. Starcraft.
Cyberpunk 2077 would be fantastic to see.
Agreed.
Yep.
Let's see, what else would be cool?
We've gotten a Witcher TV show, so whatever.
You could tell a little side story though. Like you could do something cool there.
You could get Henry Cavill back again.
It would be great. Mocap Henry Cavill into a CGI.
Oh shit, Helldivers one, absolutely.
Helldivers would be amazing.
I thought that a couple times during this.
Okay, we need a lighthearted, silly one. Do The Sims.
Oh, Sims would be good.
Sims?
Yeah. You could tell you could tell a interesting, fun thing with Sims.
Oh, they need to do a Hades one.
Hades would be good.
I guess the art style is very different, but Hades would be good.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, like, if you're going to take another classic, like, let's do Asteroids, go nuts with it the way they did with Pac-Man. I don't care what you do. Just surprise me.
I guess the classic ones are more interesting because of the interpretation.
Yeah.
The degree of interpretation that can be done.
Yeah, and the theme, the Pac-Man one, people are a little flummoxed by, but if you think about the metaphor on display there, it's interesting. You never can win. I don't want to give it away. Everyone go watch it. I
haven't watched it yet, so I don't know the context.
People should watch it and see, decide on their own. But the metaphor was obvious to me, and I liked it. It's fun to explore that stuff. All right, enough of that for now.
What a treat, though!
Oh, it's such a treat, dude. It's so great. I'm just saying, be grateful. We live in a time where this stuff can happen, and I would have killed for this when I was a kid. Oh my gosh, would have killed for it. I mean, not murder, probably, but maybe a bee, like a beehive. I'd kill every bee in the hive. I'd do that.
Oh. We need bees, Scott,
but not that one hive. You don't need them.
Well, no one think of the bees.
Yeah. Well, if it came to that, I would probably kill bees. Anyway, that's happening. Also, speaking of Cyberpunk 2077, they dropped another magical out of nowhere patch that nobody knew was coming and added a bunch of stuff, car and character customization options. I think that's freaking great. Love it.
Yep.
Did you reinstall, John? You gonna swing a?
I haven't uninstalled, but yeah, I want to play it again. I always want to play it again, but
yeah,
same.
Yeah, it seems kind of cool. Like if the cops are chasing you, you can get a paint job that allows you to cyber augment your car to change your paint job so that the cops can't find you.
Sweet.
Your car's paint changed.
That's awesome. Is that a thing you add to any car, or is it a special car?
It's not all cars. There's some cars that can do it, some cars that can't, but it's a lot of the cars.
A particular company that's come with the tech.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name. One of the high-end car companies have made it.
Gotcha. BEAU, they're also putting Cyberpunk 2077 cars and skins in Fortnite. How do you feel about that?
Wait. Oh, yeah, who cares?
That didn't move the needle for you?
I think John put that in there to troll.
I put it in there because I always am curious, like, what's going to be the thing that finally gets BEAU to go, Okay, maybe I try it now.
Nah, like I've
Maybe
never played
this is the
Fortnite.
thing.
Yeah.
Maybe this is the one thing that finally gets me.
Yep.
Because even if I wanted to play a battle royale, I'd probably do PUBG or Apex first. You know what I mean? Like it's
No, I don't. As somebody who's played all 3 of those games, I don't know why you would pick it over Fortnite.
maybe one of these days I'll give it a try, but it won't be because of something in there. I mean,
They're
they
not
had
going to get you with CyberPunk cars, is what you're
they
saying.
had Transformers in there, right? And like cool
Yeah.
looking
That is true.
Transformers.
I
Yeah,
do
like,
play the game as Megatron. That is a fact.
I'm like I've got a chip on my shoulder. I'm about to prove Tim Sweeney wrong, and that all these crossover marketing things are dumb and they don't get people to play.
Single-handedly, you are going to prove this.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
the more they do it, the
Not
more.
that I cancel you out immediately, even within this show or anything. But
No.
you're going to prove them
Did
wrong.
you already wait, John? Did you actually go purchase some skins or something while we were sitting here? Did you go? And,
No,
Okay.
no. But obviously, I got into the game because they put X23 in the game.
Oh, that's
so
right. Yeah.
I literally gave it a try because they put a skin in the game.
For me, the more they cross over, the more stronger my bulwark against trying the game becomes. Like, and they're so that pit. They have the deepest pit of crossover of any game.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Like
Oh yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
I'll play Naraka Blade Point. They got Witcher in there. It's it's a cool crossover. It probably disrupts the game world, but yeah, whatever. There's a one crossover. But Fortnite is like the herpes of crossovers in games. It's got so much. Like it's yeah.
It's herpetic. I don't. I didn't tell you guys this last week when I was playing Ukulele, the 3D, the one from the I can't think of the name of the damn people, the former Rare people that made the Runaround 3D collectathon platformer game. Banjo-Kazooie people. That's what I meant to say.
Yeah.
I'm running around in that game and I run into Shovel Knight. He's just standing there with a shovel going, "Hello, good sir. What do you or whatever." I had a whole quest for Shovel Knight. And I feel like we just live in a time now where all games cross over with everybody.
Yeah, I mean
that's
nobody
cool.
really criticizes the indies that do it, but that is like there's a whole like indie game Illuminati where it's like if you play an indie game, you'll run into Shovel Knight and
That's true.
there's a
indie
few
game
others
Illuminati.
where it's like
Yeah.
every game you play, you will run into something from one of these indie games.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Illuminati stuff, there is a Balatro secret quest apparently in this new patch of CyberPunk.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
there's
I
your
heard
indie-
about
there's
that.
and I'm like, that's cool. I don't even like Balatro, but I'm like, that seems fine to me. I'm cool with that.
Mhm. Yeah, you're a crazy person, by the way. That game's amazing, but I get it. I understand. You've made it pretty
I
clear.
don't
right?
hate it. I'm just not entertained by it.
No, so does anyone know how it's implemented? How do you do? What is that quest like? You playing it in the game or something, or?
I don't know. I've just seen it mentioned places, so I don't even know the details. I think it's, if I had to guess, it might be something like the anime crossover in some way. Like maybe there's a small quest like relating to it, and maybe people are playing Balatro, but I don't know. I have no idea.
It's gotten to the point you can buy a physical deck.
It isn't.
now.
It's the kind of thing that isn't in the patch notes.
All right.
Like I'm looking at the patch notes now. I think it's one of those things where people logged in. They were like, "What's the Balatro stuff doing in the game?"
That's
like you can
great.
get a T-shirt with the cards on them and stuff. And I heard someone mention there's a quest relating to it, but I don't know. I think it's one of those things where they didn't announce it so that people would talk about it. So that's as much as I know.
They are selling a physical version of a Balatro deck, and I kind of want one. It's just a regular playing
That's
card.
cool. Yeah, that's a cool marketing. Like for people who like Balatro and they want to make a little extra money, obviously a real deck of cards with that stuff in it seems awesome.
Yeah, I kind of want one. Let's see. Here they are launching in 2025, only $16. I think I'm going to get them. Yeah, this is really cool. Oh, they have some unique Jokers. So they've got some stuff in it that's like Jokers that change poker rules and stuff. So that's kind of cool. Anyway.
Oh, so there's the whole game attached to it. It's not just a collectible.
Sort of. Like you can play just straight poker with it, but if you want to play gay poker, the opposite of straight poker. Just kidding. I don't know why I said that.
Oh, okay.
The opposite of straight. Well, let's see. What else? Oh, Blizzard tries to delist Warcraft 1 and 2 from GOG, Good Old Games, prompting a discount and spite preservation of the games. I mean, they're basically just trying to remove them from GOG because they want to control that stuff, and no one's happy about that. But
If you want to pick up Warcraft 1 and 2 in their original form, from Good Old Games.
Yeah.
Almost called it Good Ass Games. Uh,
That's gag. This is a different site.
I believe it's getting delisted tomorrow from when we're recording this. So this is your time.
This is the lead up to them re-releasing those games as part of what do they call it? At the 30-year anniversary, they gave it a name, but there's 1 and 2 are being bundled into a.
This is so like aggravating, this behavior though, because the whole reason Blizzard can sell it is because it bore out on Good Old Games. Like there was a point where you couldn't pick up Diablo 1 and the first Warcrafts because Blizzard wasn't selling them on BattleNet. That's why they're on Good Old Games. And now they're like, actually, let's remove it from Good Old Games now that it looks like people are interested in
I don't know why they care. I just let both exist. Have your BattleNet versions that are coming with the redos and the embiggenings and the 4K and all that, and then let this live on its own over there. Who cares? I don't know.
It probably signals that they're doing a Warcraft 2 treatment of it, which is because Warcraft 2 isn't just a new purchase. Your old Warcraft 2 purchase is turfed.
Well, with 3 that happened for sure. So I'm sure they're doing.
Oh, sorry, with 3. Sorry, I meant to say 3. Yeah, so they're probably doing a deal like that, but that like sucks. That's a sucky way to do things.
I don't like it either. I don't think
nobody liked it with Warcraft 3 Reforged either.
No, although that bundle is cheaper if you already have 3. I think I'm going to just pay up to the remaining amount.
I mean, I bought StarCraft Remastered and never ended up playing it, so I'm probably just not gonna. I don't know.
I ended up playing. It was all right. It was good.
Blizzard needs to make a new RTS.
Well, yeah.
I'm not giving them money for old RTSs anymore until they make a new RTS. Thank
you. Then I'll consider it.
Yeah.
If you do want to pick that up, Good Old Games, use the discount code Make Warcraft Live Forever. Get your $2 off.
Nice. How much does that make it then?
They were not subtle.
No.
With that.
No. This is Good Old Games you're talking about, right? Like they're
yeah.
They're I mean that's also CD Projekt Red.
$2 off makes it $12.99.
I love the idea that CD Projekt Red runs GOG and that they're so passionate about DRM free and preservation and all that stuff. I just wish more big companies like them were like this. Why can't we all do this?
Right.
You know? Why can't Blizzard do that?
Agreed.
Blizzard should be interested in this, I would think.
They're interested in money.
Microsoft.
It would seem to be up Blizzard's thing because they leave their servers on and support their games long farther than other companies for the most part, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it just seems a little sucky that they also wouldn't be that they're just being like picky about old versions. Like just let old versions exist. We've gone down this road with Classic for years. They're like, I want to play Classic. It's like, actually, people want to play Classic.
They did.
They do. So just, leave it alone.
Yeah. Hands off, Blizzard.
Like, work on your new shit, but it's that fear of like, well, if our old shit's too enjoyable, they'll play the old shit and not buy your new shit. That whole thing again.
That whole argument. I hate that argument. Well, there you go. That's all the news she wrote for today. We're going to take a break. When we come back, it's time for a little Dear Martha, Sick John style. Oh, I don't know what we're doing yet. I better put one in there before we come back. Anyway, that'll be happening, as well as our Week in Gaming, games we played. I played this year's Game of the Year. There's a little there's a tease. There's a tease for you. You'll have to decide.
If it's the game I'm thinking of, I'm like, wow. Is that coming from you or just coming from
it is coming from me. I'm sure other people agree. Shit. I know one of us already agrees with me, but
okay, we'll talk about it later. I was just curious if that was coming from you or from other people.
Definitely coming from me. Yeah.
I wouldn't have bet wouldn't have bet money you'd be saying that, but that is indeed surprising.
I am blown away by the thing I'll talk about. So we'll talk about that as well as some other stuff, and we'll get to your texts and that sort of thing. But that'll be after this break. We'll be right back. We're going back to it. And we're back. Hi, everyone. We're back. It's time for Dear Martha, and I couldn't find one, John. So I think today, here's what we ought to do. We ought to do a Dear Martha that's based on something that we wing up here, right here in the middle of the show, which is you just saw. Can I even do this? You just saw that Pac-Man short, and you don't know how to. You don't know how to write home about it. You don't know how to explain it to her.
Okay.
So. Is that reasonable to go from there and
Yeah,
see? Okay.
let's do it. Let's do it.
All right, here we go. Enjoy, everybody.
My dearest Martha, I'm starting this letter as I sit down to watch my most anticipated of the secret level short films. As a longtime arcade player, I'm really excited to finally see my hero, Pac-Man, represented in a cinematic form. I will write back the rest of this letter as soon as I've finished watching it. Martha, I just finished watching Pac-Man. What happened? First of all, Pac-Man had a woman's voice.
Yeah.
This wasn't Mrs. Pac-Man. This was Pac-Man. And look, I understand it's 2024, and maybe we've regendered certain roles and we're getting a female Pac-Man. Okay, I'll set that aside. Why is she making people kill other things? Why is she making weird genitalless aliens chow down on creatures and animals? And Martha, why exactly is it that you can kill ghosts but not their eyes? That seems like an oddly specific homage to the video game that, when you think about it in the context of what we've seen, makes absolutely no sense at all.
Yeah.
Also, there's a sword. Is the sword supposed to be power pellets? Or is it just a sword? Also, it alludes that you can get out of the maze. Is that a kill screen, or is it actually impossible? Martha, I've been left with more questions than answers. And perhaps the most concerning of all is that I always thought Pac-Man was the protagonist. A family man who married a woman who looked exactly like him but with a bow in her hair. And then later had Pac children. But now I don't know what to believe. Yours in this life and the next. Pac-Fan, 1942.
Oh, wow. All the way back to 42. Jeez.
Some strange stuff on the front line there. Holy shit.
Yeah, it is weird. That's a really great primer for anybody ready to watch that one. I liked what you did there. Also, I like that you noticed that the humanoids had no discernible genitalia. I also noticed.
Oh yeah,
this.
I went looking right away. I was like, what's going on downstairs?
Yep.
Oh, nothing?
Turns out nothing.
And then they like cover it up.
Uh-huh.
There's like a lot of scenes where it's like they're like sliding towards the camera, giving you a shot right down, Main Street, but then they have like his clothes covering it up. And I'm like, why are we doing modesty?
Yeah. Yeah.
What are we doing?
What are
There's
we
nothing
doing?
to see there. There's nothing interesting going on.
Full agreement. I don't understand it, but it was a good time. Watch it, everybody. All up on Amazon Prime. Nicely done. Let's get into the games we played this week. All right. The shared play for this week are two games. One, all three of us played. One, two of us played because one of us just couldn't get excited about it. I don't know why. I didn't feel like beta testing. That's not a fair way of describing it, but I do want to hear about you guys and your time in Path of Exile 2. So, John, Bo, or both of you, how is Path of Exile 2, and is PoE 2 worth the $30 entrance fee at this stage of its life cycle?
Do you want to go first, Bo?
I mean, I can just answer. We can both answer his very simple questions.
Yeah.
It's quite fun, and yes, it is worth the $30. However, answering the first thing, it's definitely early access. You are definitely beta testing a game as well.
Okay,
but a good game.
So it's fair to say that it is an early access. I don't mean buggy and a mess, but I mean it's in that early phase.
It's not fully developed. Only half the classes, so only half the game is in the game. The game's gonna have 6 acts. There's only 3 acts available, and right now, to get to end game, you're gonna run through them twice and then do end game stuff, which is this map system. And only half the classes are in there. Each class has 3 subclasses called ascendancies, and only 2 of the ascendancies are in there per class. So there's still a ton of content to come, and there are definitely like growing pains, tough spots. Like dodge rolling works really great, but it's easy for your dodge moves to get caught on corners and enemies, so they need to work on that.
Although they
But
did just patch it. Have you played it post-patch?
yes,
Because they patched
it's
that.
still my gripe
still
is
rough.
more with the ability. Like I'm playing Ranger, so like I can leap
Mm.
back and leap forward, but if my toe hits an invisible pixel, my guy just doesn't like, and it's like, so there's still frustrations, but it's early access. Like the whole point of early access, just like with Baldur's Gate 3, is like, here, play the game, let's see your reaction, and they'll continue to develop with people's feedback. So it is to be expected. But is it worth waiting? I mean, probably, but it's also fun to play now, and I'm really enjoying it.
John.
Yeah, there were a lot of really great games that came out this past week.
Yes, in the matter of
And
3 days. It's like,
yeah, it's like really shocking how many great games came out so close. I can't stop playing Path of Exile 2.
Me too.
As
Me
good
too.
as a lot of those other games are, and they're very good, I sit down and I'm like, well, all I really want to do is play Path of Exile 2. And what's shocking is that I'm having the exact opposite. I'm like, I know I like to meme on Diablo 4. I'm not trying to turn this into this versus Diablo 4. I'm just simply contrasting here, and here's what it is. I'm having the opposite problem that I had with Diablo 4, which is when I played Diablo 4, I didn't like any of the classes. I was like, okay, I guess I'm going to play the rogue because it's the only one that I'm excited about.
Yeah.
And I felt a little pigeonholed into that class because it was the only one I really cared that much about. I didn't like how the druid looked. That was the other one that got the closest. But I felt I started and I was running around with a piece of wooden butter. And I was just like, well, this fantasy feels
Yeah,
stupid.
you start with a stick of butter. That's true.
And I just didn't like it. This game, I'm having the opposite reaction. And part of that is because the classes play very differently. And it's weird to say that because I had heard people say that, and I'm like, yeah, but it's still an ARPG. How are they going to play that differently? They do. I don't know what's in the sauce, but I played through them, and there are things I love about every single class. And right now, I have no idea which one I'm going to end up maining. I really like I don't remember what the actual job's called. Essentially, my mage, elementalist, sorcerer, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I really like that, but a part of that is because I got some awesome gear that really let me make a build early on that hasn't come online for the other characters yet. So it's not necessarily a case of I think that's the most fun class in the game, but it's like, man, I've really found a cool way to play this class. So I'm really enjoying it, and I will also say the WASD movement is awesome, and I didn't think it was that important, but now that I've done it, I love it.
You wouldn't
I'm
go.
glad
You wouldn't
tried it out.
You wouldn't
I
go
didn't
back.
do
You
it.
feel like this is how you're going to play now. No more click and walk or whatever.
No, I switch between them actually.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Depending on the mood I'm in. So WASD movement feels a lot better if you're a ranged class. I'll say that. At least in my experience.
Yeah.
And the other thing is it makes it feel more tactical. I feel more involved. And this game's hard. Like, this game is not a cakewalk. When I played Path of Exile, I built my character off the first default, like, gem that they gave me. And I was one-shotting things within seconds of starting.
Good Lord.
And it kind of stayed that way until many acts later. This game, you fight a boss and you're like, I just had a fight. I fought this boss.
Yeah, a lot. Well, so we haven't gotten there yet, but there's controversy in the player base on this game.
Oh yeah,
which is kind of satisfying. Which is people are complaining that they like Path of Exile 1 better. Like they're doing a D2's the best game to Path of Exile.
Oh shit! That snake is eating itself. Oh no.
Yeah. Because they had the audacity to make the game hard. It's been likened to like Dark Souls ARPG in terms of the boss design. not just the bosses, but the mini bosses. Like you'll just have a boss in a map, and it'll have like 52 mechanics,
Yeah.
and you'll get one shot. Like this game is in terms of comparing it to the first game, it's not a casual ARPG where you're like, I'm just gonna clear screens, right? You log into Diablo 4 and within like 10 minutes you'll be clearing screens, and it'll stay that way forever. Especially given my replay of Vessel, it was like all I have to do is press spacebar in Diablo 4 and I will clear screens and kill bosses in 2 seconds. This game is like, actually, we don't want you to feel powerful.
No, not yet.
Like
anyway.
everything's gonna be hard. So that's been massively rewarding to take on the challenges of the game. I don't think it's perfect. I'm sure there's feedback that's like good about it, because it does feel like there's some critique right now that like basically no matter how much defense you stack, you'll get one shot pretty much all the time. So they still have tuning to do to fix that. But the boss fights are challenging. They do require you to like memorize their movements. They do things like in Elden Ring where if they'll rear up to swing, they might hold it, and it's not consistent every time. So you got to pay attention if they're holding it, turning to face you. The timing is not always the same. There's a lot of stuff like that, and usually the boss fights will have more than a couple phases. So you'll learn a few of the mechanics, and then they'll start stacking them on top of each other, and you'll be like, "Oh my god, my brain's gonna explode!" It's
Yeah.
awesome.
All right.
It's
so,
great.
So they really did.
So-
Everyone comparing it to a Souls-like, they really did kind of add that aspect. To
I
the
mean,
game.
in terms of like, there's
The
a
bosses.
difficulty, it's a lot more forgiving. Like, there's checkpoints right next to the bosses usually. So if you fail, you just kind of go right back and just try it again. Like, it's
Yeah.
not like you don't drop all your gold and your XP and all of that. They haven't turned it into a Souls game. But there are mechanics that you need to adhere to. And like right now, you're showing the first boss fight of the game.
right.
And like, you can see he's not just like the first boss fight in D4. Again, not a criticism, just a compare and contrast. You kind of just stand there. He's got mechanics, but you don't really need to do anything. You just kind of hit him and you stay out of the business. This is a similar thing, but he does do stuff where he'll hold an attack. Like if you dodge the second he rears back, you're going to get hit by it because he'll still turn around and hit you.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of learn to not do that. And if you're a melee fighter, you probably have a shield, so you need to know when to raise your shield to block and stuff like that. Which is a really cool thing for melee fighters is you get the ability to just raise a shield and you just negate damage. Like it's pretty cool. And it's with the WASD movement, it just feels very engaging. Like I feel like, oh, I'm really in this. I'm really playing. I'm playing hard.
Yeah.
Sometimes you play an ARPG and you're like, yeah, the advantage of playing an ARPG is that I can watch videos on my second monitor and feel good about it. And I can't do that if I'm really engaged with WASD and my mouse clicks all at the same time. So I switched to mouse movement for that. And it feels a lot more casual. It feels a lot lighter. I feel like I don't have to be as focused and in it. But the cool thing about the game is the game makes it extremely easy to just do that. It's not like you have to restart the game or anything. You can just hot swap it anytime, and it automatically swaps all the bindings to match what you're doing along with it.
Just
so
a keystroke to change, or
it's just in a menu.
Oh,
You just
okay.
open up a menu and just click one button, and it
Okay.
just swaps it.
all right, that's easy enough.
Yeah.
So I like both control methods, but I like them for different reasons.
Yeah, I've been mainly using the old one only because I've been playing Ranger, but the way the game works out, because you don't have a clearing screen level of abilities, like doing like MOBA style auto attack combat style is also viable and has been a method I've just been enjoying. But I don't have anything against the other play style. V Rising has it, and I think it's great. So I just haven't experimented with it, but they've done a good job of making them both like feel good. That's a big improvement over Path of Exile 1. The amount of control you have over your character, minus the movement effect abilities getting caught on things being a problem. The actual movement feels real good. Like it somehow feels like more granular than what I'm doing in you know what it's like? It's like playing Hanzo in Heroes. Like Hanzo has this weird thing where like because of the way you can aim the hero, your click inputs are kind of separate from like your Q attacks. So you can kind of move around but also aim in different directions while you're moving. So like if I click to the right but then do an attack input to something on the left of my character, my guy keeps moving right. He doesn't instantly start moving left. He keeps moving right and will like attack to the left, and it feels great. It just feels so good. And I imagine it's the same with WASD, where you're just controlling so you get a turret moving around rather than in most ARPGs, the direction you click in, whether it's an attack or you're clicking on the ground, you're going to immediately start moving in that direction. So they've like, I want to say this, like I really like Diablo. I gave it high praise. But I did get to a point where I was falling asleep playing it a lot. And I played some other ARPGs, and they were kind of also snooze festing me. This game does not put me to sleep. Like I bought it very cynically, going like I'm gonna try this because I really like RPGs and I play them a lot, but I have a feeling I'm gonna bounce pretty quick because they've just been putting me to sleep lately.
Sure.
And this game has not. It's like
it's holding you.
It's super good. And I don't know, how far have you gotten, John? Like.
I've not gotten very far. My furthest, like I said, was with the sorcerer, but I keep just starting over.
Did you finish Act 1 at all?
No.
Okay. Because the end of Act boss in that is going to pucker your butthole. It is so cool. First of all, it's so badass and so cool. And so hard. Like, it's so good. Like, get your levels up, get your stuff. I'm as far as Act 3. Tizer's saying that's where the shit hits the fan. I'm still in the jungle, so I don't think I've seen the really good stuff in Act 3 yet. But the other thing I got to compliment this game on is like every time you're in a new map or new biome, it's not like reskinned monsters. It's like there's always new monsters all the time. It keeps the novelty factor up really high. And they're actually doing cool shit like digging into the ground and jumping out, following you underground. Giant skeletons that try and fall on top of you. There's always a new monster, and they compared to Path of Exile 1, where I found everything looked very generic and kind of just not very interesting. Like all the monster designs, I'm just like, that's cool, that's neat, oh, that's gross. Like I like them all. And this, like they've really cooked something special here. I'm like super hyped on this game right now. And like I said, whenever I sit down to play something, all I want to do is like, yeah, it's Path of Exile time. That's what I'm playing.
Yeah, it's been very consuming, like all consuming, and I feel like all the changes they've done to inventory. There's gold in the game. Like that's a new thing for this series actually. Like it feels like all the changes there feel like more the game I want to play than what was in Path of Exile 1. So I'm kind of on board with it. Another thing worth noting that I think is very cool is that so dodge rolling is a big part of it. Infinite dodge rolling. This isn't a case of you use it twice and then it goes on cooldown.
I wondered about that. That sounds that's Dark Soulsy.
You can dodge roll forever, and you're going to need to. So,
yes,
it's very cool.
Are the changes to life potions and stuff? Is that confusing at all? Because I noticed that changed pretty drastically.
No, it's great. You have 2. That's it. Whereas in 1, you have 5 slots for God knows what. They're just like, here's your mana, here's your life potion, here's your mana potion.
Yeah, I remember that being a little unwieldy, but
and it's cool. Okay. Yeah, even things like one of the things we often talked about at Path of Exile, like confusing gem thing, confusing skill tree. It's better in this game. Like, first of all, there's no gear with slots where you got to put your abilities in. So like that whole game aspect is not in there anymore. You still got to get gems, but you just put them in a menu. It basically
I didn't realize that. I assumed that was going to be part of this forever.
No, it's like Diablo 3, where it's like you have an ability and then you got 4 runes. Where instead of them prescribing 4 runes to you, you get what's called support gems. And what it means, there could be like 50 different things, gems, that you can customize your ability. Like, let's say you've got a lightning arrow. Well, you can get scatter shot that makes 2 lightning arrows, or you can get more shock damage that applies the shock status effect better. Like, you can the real draw, and this is true of Path of Exile 1, but the real draw of these games is how customizable your abilities are. Like, Diablo's going to tell you, here's this ability, here's 4 different options.
Right.
This game's like, here's this ability, here's 200 options, knock yourself out. And the same is true of the skill tree. That skill tree you see is not just for one class, it's for all the classes. So, for example, I'm playing a ranger. I want dexterity and evasion, and I want arrow shit. But I'm like, what's really annoying about being a ranger is when they're getting up on me. So what I actually did was I learned a skill that the witch normally uses to summon a skeleton.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm using I'm not locked out of using the witch's abilities. Like, I can use any class's abilities if I'm building that way. So I, leveled a bit of int on the tree, and then I learned the skeleton ability, and now I got a skeleton buddy who runs out and does nothing except slows them down so they don't go after me, and I can shoot ranged, and I have a little minion.
Oh, so they get like aggro for you, sort of.
Yeah, but the point I'm trying to make with this is that, like, it's like the game's not like, that's not a ranger ability, you can't equip it. The game's like, you can do anything as long as it's possible within the mechanics. Go for it. Like, you're not locked into your class's abilities. This was true of 1, and it's also true here too. And I like that flexibility, and I think that's why it's one of the positives of even the first one, is just there's a lot of creativity involved in making your build, because you can technically use anything from any class with what you're doing.
Yeah.
So yeah, and so I'm like having it makes everything like a puzzle to figure out, and especially with everything being so lethal and being so challenging, and also the game being new and not being solved too much at this point. It makes for fun, like, creativity with, like, decision making in the classes you're playing. So this game, it's an early access, so it's not all out. I wish it was all out, but it's fun. Like, you get the question a lot, is it, which is better, Diablo, which is like Path of Exile? And I'm like, they're such different games at this point. Like,
Yeah.
Diablo is just like a hyper arcade game at this point. Like a crazy shoot 'em up game. And this feels like the more methodical, really, having played Diablo 2 recently, it feels more like Diablo 2 but upgraded, like in that sort of path. And it's good. It's fun. So
damn it.
And I think
now I want to play. I was avoiding this
Yeah.
game, but now I want to.
You should play it. It's
You
very
should play
good.
it, yeah. They've leveled up everything. Like, I would say, like, that's why I thought it's funny, because the game, like, even the general chat, and there's full of complaining. It's like, why is this so hard, and blah 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 blah, and Path of Exile 1. Why do they put Dark Souls in there? I'm like, dude, they made an actual good game. Unlike PoE, I'm glad they gave them a bunch of money and like PoE 1, so we could get PoE 2. But in my opinion, this game shits on PoE 1 so hard. like it's so good what they're doing here. And I don't want it to. I like that it's challenging. And I really just, I like everything they've done so much, where, like, I was very Path of Exile 1, and I'm, like, very strongly liking Path of Exile 2. Is like, they really like got it together. And I just kind of like that they're now going to have to taste their own medicine, because they're going to have a bunch of unreasonable people going like, why can't you make the game like Path of Exile 1 back when Path of Exile was good? And I'm just like, oh man, I'm like, yeah, see what you get for spreading hate around.
Yeah, I feel like
I still wish them well, because PoE 2 is awesome.
Yeah, it seems pretty neat. I can say that from watching some video here and before. I've been watching video and not playing it. The vibe, the overall eldritch horror of it all is working real good. I think this looks really nice too.
It looks awesome.
Yeah.
And like the spell effects are really bright and flashy. Like, even little things, it's like, because they've kind of gone for, and Diablo 4 did this as well, but I think it's executed a little smarter here. They've gone with a more muted color palette for a lot of things, but spell effects and explosions, they went the opposite direction. So when you fire a lightning bolt, is this bright, vibrant, crazy, cool-looking thing on this like muted, dark background, and it looks awesome. Like it's a level 1 lightning bolt. It should be stupid, but it looks cool as hell. And certain attacks have certain delays, so like, you know, you might call down a lightning bolt strike, and it's very powerful. But it's not like you click it and it just goes, zzz, and you know, you shoot lightning instantly. It actually feels like it drops from the sky. There's a very small delay where it falls and plops, and just that small delay makes it feel like, oh man, I really called that in.
Yeah.
From somewhere else. And they've really made smart, intelligent use of the speed with which things are deployed, how they look, to make the effects and stuff pop. That like it's a really good looking game.
Yeah, seems really pretty.
Lots of gross monsters too and stuff. Like there's lots of things that make you go, oh wow, which is funny because I would credit Diablo 4 as being the flashier. In many respects, the art in that game is like phenomenal as well.
Yeah.
But something about the style in this one is like striking. Like it's sort of like it's a little creepier, it's a little weirder. It's honestly a little more distasteful in some ways. Like in Act 2, your main hub is this caravan being pulled by like a bunch of slaves, and you're just like, well, I guess we're cool with this.
Doing this,
you know,
some slaves.
I think your character even comments on it. It's like, well, geez, that's a lot of slaves to be carrying the caravan, but like,
yeah,
it's a shitty, depressing world. So it's like, you know what I mean? Like where I find like, you know, the good guys are good guys right now, and the way they write Diablo, you're not really teaming up with morally gray people, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah, that adds depth to the thing, I think, from a fantasy standpoint, for
so,
sure.
like, while I'm not really following the story in this, like I would in Diablo, the vibes like just says it all. You know what I mean? Where it's just like, everything's very oppressive. Another good argument to play something like the Sorceress on what John said about spell effects is that like the game's very dark, so you can't see, but fire's super great at illuminating places. So very early on, you'll get the wall of fire skill, and you can just light the whole dungeon on fire, and then you can see great. It has a nice effect.
Yeah. Turns out when you set everything on fire, it's a pretty good illumination of things.
Yeah. No, I know fresh slating it, because I know we've had our comments about Path of Exile in the past, and I've never really been a big fan of the, you know, we don't like Blizzard, that's why we made this game's kind of vibe. Like that's just makes me not want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
This game really is very good, and I recommend it.
I just think it's
John,
crazy.
John was right. I was hesitating. Remember, John? You're like, I don't know if you're going to.
You were very hesitating.
You know?
Yeah.
I was like, well, I'm going to fall asleep playing another ARPG, and I'm like, this isn't doing it at all. Like I'm staying awake playing it. It's good.
I also think this is a unique situation outside of something like Fortnite, which is just, you know, this mass appeal or whatever. For people to be this stoked in a hardcore way about a free-to-play game, eventually anyway. Right now, it's going to cost you to get in early, but eventually it's a free-to-play game and always has been, the series. That's kind of unusual. You know, no one talks this way.
It currently isn't free to play.
No.
So
but
I think they broke 1 million concurrent or 1 million in sales and something in the first couple of days.
Yeah, they did quite well with this. It's not free,
they did quite well.
Still, when this game is a free to play game, which it ultimately is designed to be, it's just crazy to have this kind of hardcore level of like a devotion around a free to play game. It's just a weird thing. Their whole series has been like this, like the first game too.
Yeah. Well,
they deserve credit for it. It's just
they've built up a lot of goodwill, and to be like fair in the analysis of the bigger ARPGs, this is their only game. Like they've got to put it all on the line for this game.
Yeah.
Whereas we know from the Plain Ice book, Diablo's kind of a thing that they'll flirt with when it feels good, and then dumpster when the money people aren't happy.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? Which is sort of how I'm feeling about D4 at this point. I'm like, I don't see a reason to keep playing this game based on the content I saw.
Yeah.
And even I saw Rod Ferguson there's an article. I did read the whole article, but the headline was, I really hate the whole "it'll be ready when it's ready" line. And I was like, yeah, I can tell. I can tell you hate it from Vessel of Hatred. And like, the Microsoft guy finally saying Microsoft things now that the sales.
Oh, I always forget he was the Gears guy, wasn't he?
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, yeah. Because Diablo 4, I wouldn't credit with him because he was like brought in towards the tail end of that product cycle, but he definitely shepherded Vessel of Hatred, and well, they shipped it on time, I guess, but
Yeah.
it wasn't, it's the of hatred, I think.
The
Or
of
Vessel of
hatred.
uh-oh.
Crap.
Yeah, I'm not. I feel a little down on that product, and I'm like, stonks are up for Path of Exile too. I'm really enjoying it. So.
Sure. Well, there you have it. Our early look. I think I'm probably just gonna have to get it, and
Get it.
I'll report back on. Apparently, Steam Deck is a little funky during early access, but I'll give it a shot there too, so I can give our deck people.
Chat room's also right too. CUTB 9000. I think Bo said last week he wouldn't play it. That sealed his fate.
Yeah, it's just like
Right,
when Scott
not-
says he's gonna finish something.
No, exactly. That's a sign that I won't finish it. It's a sign Bo will buy
Exactly.
something. Yeah, no,
If
exactly.
I say I won't buy something, it's definitely getting purchased.
Yeah.
And if Scott says I'm going to finish it, that's definitely not happening.
Yeah, if I say today about this game that I can't wait to talk about, if I say I'm going to finish it, then beware. But I don't think I'm going to say that because I do think I'm going to, but I'm not going to say it.
Ah, good.
See?
Way to find a backdoor to
Yeah,
that.
a little backdoor. All right, let's talk about Rivals. This came out since we last spoke. This is
Marvel
the
Rivals.
Marvel
Not just regular
Rivals.
rivals. Marvel.
Marvel Rivals. The very much Overwatch like. So we all played this. I'm going to give you just my quick take, and then we'll go around the room. It is astoundingly pretty. This game.
Yeah.
It's extremely nice visually. I think the graphics are incredible. I was really struck by it and was like, "Whoa, holy crap! Okay, nice. Sound works really good. Just movement, the feel of things, the environments, destructible or not, are all very nice. Like that part of it, like well done, guys. Like your art team freaking knocked it out of the damn park here." And I really, really like it. The art, character design, all that stuff is very, very good. I don't think Marvel stuff has looked this good, since a comic that maybe did it better. It's just beautiful. The game is very Overwatch adjacent in everything that I've played so far. And I know there's a lot to be said for like the tactician classes and some of that stuff. Is it tactician? I think so. But there are some things, and I did a little video about this, but there are some things that are just like straight up, not rip-offs. Well, some of it's kind of ripped off. Like you're not going to tell much difference between Black Widow and Widowmaker. They are the same human being in almost every single way. Punisher is Soldier 76 in a lot of ways, but he's also a little bit of Bastion, and he's a little bit of a couple other things thrown in there.
They remix them in ways that aren't intuitive.
No.
Because
Yeah.
Punisher being the gun guy, I want to Soldier 76 sprint with him, and that does nothing. He can't sprint.
Yeah,
I'm
it
like,
is
what this
confusing.
crappy
It
character?
feels weird, right? But that same ability, I think that's his grappling hook, and that's weird because Soldier 76 doesn't have one. So it feels kind of funky. Star-Lord is Tracer. Like 100%,
Yes.
that's Tracer. He has one ability that's sort of like mini ultimate version of Reapers, like the Blossom of Death
that's
or whatever.
exchanged because he can't rewind time, right?
Right. So there's like these different takes on it, but he's still the reload, flap, flap, reload. Like he is Tracer. And it's funny because iteration is big in games. I get it. There's not anything new that we're saying here. I mean, Overwatch is an iteration on the Team Fortress 2 style, game. It's not that. It's just that everything is very Overwatch to the point that it is almost distracting. The fact that, Storm is essentially Lucio with flight.
And no healing.
And no healing, yeah. She has
Like,
other
I don't
buffs.
think
Basically the
remix-
same, except all of these core differences.
Yeah, some of these differences, but she's got a ring and she can do a speed up at the start of the match or whenever
Her
the cool
ultimate
ends
is
up.
insane,
Her
though.
ultimate's crazy. Her
I play
ultimate,
Storm, and all her ultimate is really good.
yeah, so that's where I'm headed next. Is this turns out not really to be a problem in the gameplay department? It plays really well. I like that it's third person because I can actually see skins. I actually don't like in Overwatch that's first person because you just never really can see yourself. Not very often. But in this game, you're, behind the shoulder. I'm watching, in this case, this video of Punisher running around doing Punisher shit. And that felt really good to me. I'm running at 120 frames. It runs beautifully. Steam Deck support is awesome for this game. So you can play a little bit there. Controller and keyboard and mouse, all of it good. Like, it's a good game. It's exactly what you think it is, except instead of May, Groot throws up a wall. And instead of, I don't know, I'm trying to think of a tank. Oh, instead of Diva, the Hulk exists. Like the Hulk is basically Diva because he can turn into his, he's David Banner with a pistol. And then he turns immediately into, Hulk mode, which is basically like her turning immediately into mech mode.
David Banner, they based it on the television show.
Oh, shit. Did I say David? I was so ruined as a kid with that because of the TV show.
But one of the big differences between this and Overwatch pretty much everyone shoots with some rare exception, but there's actually a ton of melee characters in this game.
Yeah.
Like Spider-Man's all melee all the time.
Yeah. My personal favorite, Captain America. Yeah. Captain America is like a little crackhead because he can sprint, but he's also a tank. So you just run around, jump into the enemy team, smash things, then power jump out, get healed, then jump back in, smash things, and also be a tank, so never die. He's great.
Yeah, he's pretty all right. I think his ultimate's boring, but there are other ultimates that really are wild and crazy.
Yeah, but he yells "assemble" really loud, so I don't know. I'm a Cap fan.
He's cool.
I like Cap.
I don't like that Wolverine's base skin looks like he's just in high school, but whatever, it's fine.
Well, so
I like it. I love the art style for this. It's weird, and I like how weird it is.
There's anime bullshit stuff in it because when he goes ultimate or something, his hair does the
he goes Super Saiyan.
Oh yeah,
Super Saiyan Wolverine.
His hair will like start just like there's wind blowing from underneath him, just start blowing up.
Yeah. I mean,
I like playing Wolverine, but he's hard to play. Like you need a pocket healer.
I've heard people say he's not very good right now.
Oh, really?
Well, he's not good in the sense that you can't log into a game and just own with him. Like he needs some support, but he's ridiculously strong.
Which is weird to say about the character with a regenerative healing factor.
Yeah, he dies a lot for a guy that can heal. I would say that I really like Magneto, but I'm not sure why. I think it's because he's old man Magneto and got a beard. I think that might be it. Because the rest
That's what I mean. Like the art style for this game is so good. Because every time I look at the characters, I'm not always like, yeah, that's the best version of the character I've ever seen. But every time I'm like, oh, it's a badass version of that character.
It's astounding. Like it really is kind of jaw dropping. I mean, they've managed to make Overwatch, which is already kind of a pretty game, as much as we're kind of tired of looking at it. This makes it look old and kind of generic. Like
I don't know. I think Overwatch plays better than this game.
Oh, it might play better. I'm just talking about looks. Yeah. Like forget about play for a second. Looks wise, I think this game has that beat by a lot. And part of it's because I get to see characters more. I do like to see my dude doing stuff, and it still feels like the right kind of shooter. It doesn't feel hampered by being third person. But gameplay wise, I mean, I may as well be playing Overwatch. It doesn't feel that different to me at all. Like it's almost the same experience. But you're getting to be these characters. So my overall take is that I'm positive on it. I think that there are some things in it Overwatch could learn from. I think the destructible environments and only temporary cover if you're not being smart or whatever is cool. And I think seeing your characters is a big
environments deal. Are awesome. I'm always a big fan of that stuff.
That's
cool.
So Bo, hot takes. What do you think of Rivals?
I think it's a lot of fun. I think I still prefer Overwatch than this game. There's a lot of hype with this game, and I think they've done really well with the art style, and it's definitely manic and very fun. But I don't think I don't think the kits are well thought out. Like I think the kits are generally well thought out when it comes to Overwatch heroes, and it really feels random. Like I played a lot of Black Widow, and but she's got no defensive tools. Like Widowmaker has the grappling hook and the poison mine, and Black Widow in this just runs around. Yeah. And very generic. But she's the sniper person, and it works out really well. I had a game where I was 32-0 with her.
Jeez. Holy shit.
Yeah. But I don't think I think the kits are like a little. Like when you say like they're remixing the Overwatch stuff, it's like I agree, and they remix them in a way that makes sense for like the hero, but I don't think they remix them in a way that like makes sense for a team shooter. I think some of the abilities are like wasted and weird on the different characters.
A lot of the shooting feels like Zenyatta shooting for everyone. I don't know if you
I feel like I do less with the characters than I do in Overwatch. If that makes any sense.
Yeah. I think that's fair.
And it's uneven. Some of them are more. Spider-Man has, like, you can tell there's more love poured into Spider-Man than into Black Widow, or Punisher. It's like, here's some guns, do gun shit. Spider-Man's like, all right, you got to shoot a web tracer, and then you can swing in, then you go and like punch a bunch and do an uppercut, and then swing out. And there's like cool animations, and he looks really awesome. But like, not all the heroes are very even. I don't know. I'm not. I feel like I'm looking at this game like a little more soberly. Like, it's very good. They've done a great job with the game. It's super fun, especially in its launch window. But I think in the long run, I question that this is going to actually be a very well balanced or competitive game, and maybe it doesn't need to be. I don't know.
Maybe it doesn't. But that's, I think I land right about where you are in the gameplay. John, you're the biggest Marvel fan in the room. Where do you stand on all this?
Yeah,
stuff?
and I'm the biggest hero shooter naysayer in the room too.
Yeah,
Perfect combination. All right.
So yeah, this is taking something I love and putting it in something I hate and I'm sick of. And the end result is I think Marvel Rivals is really cool. I've played a few games. I've only played as Spider-Man. I'm undefeated as Spider-Man.
Nice.
Which continues to make me think that I need to stop playing and go out on top.
You did the one game. I'm the best.
Yeah, undefeated.
Strategy.
Yeah, undefeated. I'm done.
Yeah.
I have played more games since. I'm still undefeated, but I know my number's up soon.
Sure.
Especially because I was like, well, I'm gonna just play Spider-Man. It's like difficulty. They give everybody a difficulty modifier, and I believe Spider-Man tops out on the difficulty modifier. And I was like, great. I don't care. I'm gonna play Spider-Man. So that's, sometimes it's challenging. Like I had a match where there was a Storm who I think very quickly realized that I did not know as Spider-Man how to counter her.
Yeah.
And so they really had it out for me. But we still won, so it's fine.
Yeah.
I like a lot of the characters though. As much as I joke I'm only gonna play as Spider-Man, I think Jeff the Land Shark is the cutest thing that has ever existed. I think it looks amazing. And he sings the Jaws theme when he does his ultimate, which is adorable.
It's pretty cute.
I think a lot of the characters look really good, and actually a lot of them I really want to play. Besides Spider-Man, which is shocking to say, because really the only reason I'm playing this game is because Spider-Man's in it.
Yeah.
And
Spider-Man's a problem.
Oh, I really like. I should have mentioned he's kind of Reaper-like, but I really like Winter Soldier. He's fun to play. I played a lot of him. Yeah. Anyway,
is he?
Yeah, I liked him. He just felt like, Reaper, not dual wielding, but just like powerful punch kind of gun that's slower, but it's like ka-ka. His ultimate, he gets all like tentacle hands, and he's cool. I like him. Anyway, sorry, John.
I love the art of it though. I think, if I was going to play a team shooter, this will be the one I'd play. It feels like it's going to get a lot of love, a lot of support. I actually think that these games, here's my hot take that I'm sure a lot of tryhards will disagree with. I think these games are better when they're not balanced. I think with balance comes strong beliefs in meta. And I believe the more people feel there is a meta, the more toxic they become. Now, it doesn't mean it's not going to form already. Like, I haven't really researched this game, and already I knew before Bo even said anything that Black Widow is considered a garbage character. I've absorbed that via internet osmosis. So theories on these characters already exist, and they're already out there.
We're just bad at playing them.
I've never had anybody turn around and say, like when I immediately lock Spider-Man, hey, why aren't you synergizing? Hey, we're gonna do this. Like, so far, everybody's just picking stuff and doing whatever. And maybe that'll change over time, and when it does, it's when I'll probably stop playing, because the other advantage I've gained by no longer caring about this genre is that now I don't care what people think. Now when I go in, and if everybody's locked tanks and, assault characters, and they're like, we need a healer, I'm like, well, I'm going to play Spider-Man. Go play Spider-Man, we'll be mad at you.
Yeah, you're doing the
Crofton
strategy. I played with Crofton for 2 hours, and he only played Spider-Man.
Like,
he's like, I only play Spider-Man. I'm like, It's a team shooter. You know, you'll be successful if you play, play other heroes so that it helps you win the game. That's why there's tanks and healers.
Yeah.
He's
See,
like,
but
I'm
what
only
you don't-
playing Spider-Man.
What you don't realize, Bo, and I can't believe I'm going to stand up for Crofton.
I know. I realize Crofton sucks.
What you don't realize is that we have won the game by playing Spider-Man. There is no greater game to win.
I realize
won
that.
once we've locked that character.
I realize that. No, I realize that. And like, if everyone goes all like fighters or whatever, duelists, like I'll pick a duelist too. I'm not going to be the sucker that plays the healer. Like, we're going to lose this game in style.
Yeah, have fun losing at least.
But it's counter to what you're supposed to do in a team shooter.
Yeah. Which is part of the reason why I don't like him, because like I want to get in, I want to play what I want to play, and I don't want to hear it from other people.
Well, that's why.
And
why did they make
done
Spider-Man
caring
hard?
what random people on the internet seem.
I
to
assume
think.
like 50% of their player base is just there to play Spider-Man, and they made him hard for some reason.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's how they wheel that in. You know, they're like, okay, hold on. We can't make him an easy noob character because then literally everybody will play him. Let's
Enjoy
make him a hard
losing
character.
the game for the team by playing the most desired character.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It is
exactly.
also not a tank or healer role. Although, like, how would you make Spider-Man a healer or a tank? But
He webs up your wounds.
Well, if you guys like someone in the chat saying about Hanzo, if you guys like Hanzo, just pick Hawkeye. He's Hanzo, straight up. Like the way he shoots.
I haven't gotten to Hawkeye yet. There is a meta, but I think the meta, people are just logging in a quick match and it's LOL time. Like, I don't think there's a real competitive meta. So it's just like the solo queue champs that are like wrecking. Like Iron Fist is like the premier duelist. Why? Because he self heals and has a lot of. He's like probably overtuned for the damage he outputs. Like, he has invulnerability windows when he gets in there. And it's like, oh great, Iron Fist is a meta pick, like the loserist hero on the roster.
Yeah,
like he looks so dumb. He floats around. I'm just like,
I don't like Iron Man in the game. I did play a bit of him. I was excited about him because I thought, okay, we're gonna get Farah, death from above, but also great beams and all this. I don't like him at all. I don't like
flying heroes are generally bad because when you play Black Widow, they're like sitting ducks. I farmed an Iron Man once. So I played.
He just plays
I played
bad.
Storm, and then some guy switched to Iron Man specifically to hunt me down. So I hero swapped to Black Widow and just farmed him. He never switched off Iron Man after that. And I'm
really
like, oh yeah,
me.
float the sky for the sniper to take you out. Super cool. Super cool.
Not a fan.
Like, there's stuff like that it's in the game where I feel like they've prioritized making cool heroes and haven't really thought about like counterplay and stuff, because if you are playing a flying hero, you're just gonna die.
Yeah.
like to range, not to Spider-Man shockingly kind of think probably bad at
yeah, he's not good at it, which is a surprise because you would think Spider-Man would be able to like get up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it's also based on the mechanics. Like, I was playing Storm one match, and there was a Wolverine that kept trying to jump and get me, but couldn't. I'm like, loser Wolverine. You can't. Like, Wolverine's thing is not jumping high in the sky to get flying heroes. That's why Storm is always.
No, he needs Colossus to throw him at him.
Yeah,
which might get at it if they ever add Colossus.
It is in the game. Hulk can
throw him.
Can throw Wolverine.
Wolverine, yeah.
But you think you can get any Hulk to throw you?
No,
because it requires you both to press a button. So I'm like, hey, throw me. Hey, throw me. Hey, throw me. Hulk's like,
F off. Yeah. If you have
Hulk's
friends,
too busy smashing.
If you're co-oping with friends and stuff, I could see that being really fun. But it ain't happening in randos. It's just not that thing.
Yeah, and like, there's a pretty big cooldown on that co-op move, so it's like, it's not you can jump up and get her once as Wolverine. It was really funny. I'm looking down, shooting my lightning bolts at the Wolverine that can do nothing and just trying to get me but can't. And so that's what I mean by like balance. Like, there's a kind of a rock paper scissors ishness to it.
Yeah.
And that's like interesting game design to an extent. As soon as hero picks become hard counters, and we talked a lot about this because Heroes of the Storm, that was definitely a subject of conversation where you lose at draft.
Yeah.
And like in quick match, you can hero swap, but in more competitive modes where you get hero locks, hard counters are kind of ass. If you lose at draft, nobody's interested in games like that. And this is definitely a lose at draft game currently. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Wild. Well, it's out there, so play it. It's free to play. No reason not to check it out if any of this sounded interesting to anyone listening. But I think overall, favorable. Yeah, it's not a
It gave
piece
me
of shit.
belief that maybe I might one day play a. I mean, I guess I am playing it. Like, there's not a maybe I'll play a hero shooter again. I played this.
My favorite.
I will probably continue to play this every now and
My
then.
favorite YouTube comment was I was looking at a video that's like a big playthrough of the whole thing, all the characters, and my favorite comment is Overwatch 2 finally came out. I freaking love that. Nice.
Yeah, imagine that.
All right, moving on to games that I played directly. I got Metaphor ReFantazio, and I got it
Was this
because
the one you were talking about?
yes. So John, talked about it a bunch, beat it, played a ton of it, hours and hours, 100 hours or whatever it was of it. And that was tempting, but what really got me tempted was somebody said, "Hey, I need some artwork. Do you want to do some trade?" I said, "Sure." And this was the game I decided to do in trade because it was for a game. And I thought, well, that's a good excuse. Let's do that. So I did the art, got the trade, and I am calling it right now. John is correct. This is Game of the Year. And the reason I think that, I'm not even that far. I'm out of the mines, John. You know where I am, right?
Yeah.
Early on, but it's a decent amount into the game. It's really good. Like, I already thought, like, I played a bunch of Persona 5, and I didn't like 4 because of all the classroom stuff. It just felt like overlong in those areas. But 5, I really liked the pacing of. This thing has amazing pacing. No one, well, you did tell us, but you didn't really tell me how great the music is, how incredible.
Yeah, you said something, but not really.
The acting is so good. The voice acting's amazing in it. Like, I was expecting garbage anime bullshit, and it's not. It's not that. It's great dialogue, great voice actors. The music's insane. It's insane, this music. Like, how hard it goes. Oh, yeah. My favorite thing in it is when you do a battle, you hear, you didn't tell me this. Listen to this. How could you leave that out? That's
you know what I
that's
did.
Really
so I gotta roll this back. We did the Game Awards, and this was up for best soundtrack. And I believe all I said about it was, I'm not giving it to Metaphor because there were some tracks I heard too many times and they annoyed me. And if that's the case, it can't be best soundtrack.
Was this the one?
Which, no, I love that song. That song is great.
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think I did a disservice to not talk up that soundtrack. Its soundtrack is really good.
It's exceptionally good and so deep and diverse. Like, I don't just know what I expected. That aside, they have absolutely nailed the loop here, which is bunch of story told really well with good acting and great dialogue that isn't stupid to me. And I say that with all respect to games that have poor translations or the localization's not that great or I am culturally in a place that I don't get the point. This I completely get. It's a setting I totally like, and its only real weakness from kind of that anime aversion standpoint for me is that I misgender a lot of characters until they talk. Including the main one. I was like, oh, she's cute. All right, sweet, let's go. All right, I'm ready to go. Ah! Like, it's just like catches me off guard. And it's happened a few times. The author, I don't want to give anything away, but you know who I mean when I say the author.
Yeah.
The author, I was like, all right, who's this lady? Let's go. And he was, you don't know me from, I'm like, ah! So it's not a problem. It's just me and my proclivities towards certain art styles and whatever.
What'd you think of your first human when you saw one?
That was, so when you describe them as humans, the enemies being humans, I went, okay, sure. I guess it's this. I don't know what that means, but let's see what this is. Yeah, I wasn't prepared for that. It's basically it's like the movie The Thing, sort of. And the combat. Oh, that's the other thing. I think this combat is really great, and turn-based combat is such a hit or miss. Like you can do it right and it feels good and the flow is great. This game does two things really brilliantly. One is the combat itself, even when you're in turn-based mode, is very much like pick your thing, go. and it's smooth. It's like whack, 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 hurt him, and then the next guy goes, and the next girl goes, and then it's the bad guy's turn, and it's interesting. And you watch it, and you go, "Oh shit! If he's doing that, I got to go for the legs or whatever." And then it comes back to you. You're not waiting around. Like it doesn't feel methodic and slow and like jump over, stab, jump back like your old school stuff. It's very flashy, very cool, and just exciting to be in the turn-based combat. The nice thing, though, the game does is for enemies that have now gotten to be easy because you've powered up, you've leveled up. You talked about this some.
Yeah.
But it used to be I'd have to go into a mode, into turn-based mode and take them down in a methodical way. But when they've gotten to a place where they're just kind of poopy, you don't have to grind that anymore. You just run into that crowd and hit them, and they die. And it's just like an action game at that point. So the combat is turned to an action game. Most of them are like a single hit point or whatever the hell it is, and they're just dead. And that has two things that happen. One, mechanically, I find that very satisfying for them to graduate to that status. Because at first it's like, oh, they're hard. I got to go tactical. Look at my options. Should I heal an item? All the things you do in a JRPG. But you achieved something by making them just the blue that they are now. And you just can walk in there and just kick their ass, and you do it without having to go into a new mode. You just whack, whack, whack. You're all dead. Get some loot. Get out of there. And knowing that that's kind of the pattern is such a neat way of doing that. And it's created both a sense of like less tedium, but also this feeling of accomplishment all at the same time. I love that. That's a feature I've never seen before. Why is no one else
Stays true through the entire game too. By the end of the game, part of the reason why I got so much time in it, the final map before the final boss, I didn't have to go into the combat screen anymore for fights.
See, that's great. And that's not just it's so boring, because they're not. The combat screens are fun, but they're like a reminder of, okay, I have to take this seriously. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to take my time, and I'm going to decide what to do and what's my position and all this kind of stuff. But then I know that eventually I'm gonna get that dog creature down so bad that now I'll just waste him and 4 of his friends without even thinking about it. There's something about the power fantasy that works for. Aesthetically, it works for me. It removes the feeling of grinding that you get in these games. Brilliant, freaking brilliant. Yeah, I'm not far enough to like. It's not even fair. Scott, people are like, Scott, you haven't even played the new indie game, the Indiana Jones game. I hear that's game of the year. You should play that first before you make a call like this. Like every year, I'm picking a game in my head thus far that I would put at the top of the list that I have played. I haven't played Indiana Jones yet. John has.
We can only pick from the games we played. We're not some committee that's played everything.
Yeah, we can't do that. But I love what I'm playing so far. I'm drawn to it every freaking minute of the day. Steam Deck people.
That music did a lot to convince me. I wishlisted it based on that song.
Just on this. You're only going to hear it.
Oh, it's so good.
Look, yeah. I love a good soundtrack, and that to me sounds like somebody was getting creative.
Yeah, they did,
and yeah,
they definitely did. The battle.
I don't even know the context of it, but I'm like, if everyone's loving your game and it has a song like that in it, that means something good happened.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a cool, weird song.
Because by default, that song sounds stupid, and I shouldn't. When I hear that, I should be like, that game sounds like it's dumb. But if people are liking the game and that song is in it, that means there's something good.
Yeah, here's a taste of some more. Just some. I don't know what this bit is. It's just epic, and like even with the stuff without that guy. Like, this isn't fake orchestral. This is orchestral. This is an orchestra doing their sound. Like, it's so sweeping. I don't know. I was just blown away by it. I didn't expect it.
Yeah. Still could be fake, but the sampling technology is so far beyond.
It's so good, though. If it is, then this is the best I've heard.
I mean, you can download like 10 gigabyte sample packs of full orchestra stuff, and you wouldn't tell the difference from live and recorded.
Well, they spared
day and age now.
They spared no expense on the packs then, because this sounds really good.
Doesn't matter as long as you liked it. I mean, clearly there's a real person singing that.
That guy's great.
Yeah.
Anyway, I shouldn't have waited so long. I'm loving it. It's super fun, and I can't wait to keep the stories. That's the other thing is these stories sometimes lose me. If you have enough mechanics, it's fun. I'll keep going. But this story is, I want to see it through. I gotta know what happens. Like,
It's really compelling, and they do a smart move with the story by not really making it a mystery. Like, it could have been, right? It
Yeah.
could have been like, who killed the king? They're like, no, here's who killed the king.
mhm.
And if you ask him, he'll say he did it too.
Yeah, yeah. They tell you, they start this whole thing with that's the other thing. These games, not to rehash what you said, but last time, but it's basically a mix of here's hand animated animation, and then here's in-game animation. And there's a couple of forms of that, and some of it's voice, some of it isn't. It's like all that stuff, and it's seamless. It's very seamless. It's like you just killed a thing, bam, we're into the movie. It's like, oh my gosh, it's so cinematic, and then you're out of the movie doing other stuff, and it's no load times, no weird cuts that feel wrong. And they very early, the intro thing when you boot this up, before you can even hit a button, you know who kills the king.
Yeah.
Like they show you, it happens in front of your eyes, and so now you're in on a mystery that others don't know the answer to yet, and it's just, it's great. It's just really well done in almost every conceivable way I could describe. I like this game a lot, and I'm, compared to John, I've barely cracked the surface, but I can tell this.
Yeah, it's about to
really
pop off for you. Like,
yeah,
post the mines, it's like, okay, I see where you're going. And then it's like, okay, I see what the game loop is going to be. And you finish that first dungeon and you're like, well, I get this. All right, let's go. And then the game's like, yeah, everything you just thought, we're throwing it all out the window. We're doing something else. You're like, what?
yeah.
This is crazy.
It also didn't take forever to start forming a party, which I don't like in those games. They usually take way too long, and this one let me start getting great people in with me immediately.
Yeah, I really like the first characters that join you too.
Yeah.
They're really good.
The old guy, the Scottish accent guy, I freaking love that character. He's great. And as I am doing the English voiceover, it lets you do Japanese if you want. You can do Japanese with English
I did it in
subtitles.
English. The voices are really good.
I think they're great, like top-notch stuff. So anyway, if this hasn't convinced you, we can't help you, people at home. So we'll see. I got to play Indiana still. We'll talk about with John about that in a second. A lot of people are raving about that, but that was a little more split, a little more derision. So we'll see where that is. I also cracked open Mechwarrior 5 Clans.
Ooh.
And I did that because it's on Game Pass, and I've been putting it off, and I don't know why, because I love giant robots, and I love the Mechwarrior series, and I like everything to do with that whole.
So
all of it.
Clans is standalone from
Correct.
the other MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries.
Correct.
So it's a standalone.
Mercenaries and Clans are separate games. Clans is very much a story-driven, I wouldn't say linear experience, but more linear than Mercenaries. Mercenaries is a little bit more open-ended. This is more like there are characters, and you are a big one of them, and there's a whole narrative, and it's all beautifully rendered in Unreal 5, and as you can see here, this scene where this rough and tumble army guys talking to these new recruits, it's all very like, I don't know, it's what you want out of a Mechwarrior game if you want story. Real good so far. Lots of good acting, lots of good mocap, lots of all that stuff, very true to the source material. The real question is, how does this I just punched him right in the gut. I forgot about that. Anyway, the real question is, how does it play? You get in their mech, how's the shooting, how's the missions and stuff? And it's great. You walk around in a giant stomping mech and blow shit up, and there's, got to watch your heat and don't run out of missiles and equip your mech before the mission and, all the stuff you do, all the things you do in these games. Let's see if I can skip
Important
to some
skill there.
actual gameplay. You can be in the cockpit. You can be out of the cockpit. I prefer out. Plays, controls really well. Again, it's Unreal 5, so it's pretty beautiful in terms of environments and explosions and all that kind of stuff. I think this is a huge step forward for Mercenaries. Mercenaries kind of left me a little flat, and this is much better. Now, the only problem here is this doesn't have a sandbox mode, which everybody was begging for. They could still add one. And I haven't done multiplayer, but there's co-op in here, I think. Or I think there is multiplayer, I guess. And maybe that's
why
just
are people
versus.
review bombing it?
I don't know. I saw that too. I don't know what the problem is. There must be something going on that I'm unaware of or something. But what I'm playing is pretty good. I got it on, like I said, Game Pass, so I am playing it on PC, but I don't know what's going on Steam. They're probably, who knows what they're up in arms about. But if I had to guess, it's the lack of a sandbox mode where.
Yeah, mostly what I'm seeing is like bugs and freezing issues.
Oh, yeah, I haven't had any of that yet, but there's
Uh,
time, I
so.
suppose. So far, so good though. I really like it. I think it's if you like this stuff, if you like Mechwarrior, I mean, I played 2 until my eyes fell out back in the day. This is I think a return to that, certainly in the single player aspect of it all, and it's just tactical and fun, and big lumbering robots, amazing weapons, crazy fights and stuff, and so far the story's pretty good. So I like it. It's good. Mechwarrior 5 Clans. And more Psychonauts 2. Nothing more to say except I'm still playing it. And for some reason, because I couldn't get into PoE 2 or crack open Indiana Jones, I just started a new Super Mario World run for I don't know why. I just did.
All right. Well, Super Mario's a great game. Classic games are great.
Yeah.
We
Game holds
like
up.
classic food, so why not classic games?
That's right. I got a bowl full of petrified chicken. Why not a little?
That's the Super Nintendo deal, right?
Yes,
Super
although
Mario.
my preferred version is the GBA re-release, which they called Super Mario Advance 2.
Oh, okay.
It's weird how they number them, but it's called Super Mario Advance 2, but it's Super Mario World for the GBA, and it's a better aspect ratio, so it kind of fills your whole screen instead of being cut off. Anyway, I like it a lot. That game continues to be.
Yeah, so nobody played indie.
But John did. Hey, John.
Hey.
John did.
Yeah,
Hello.
how's Indiana Jones and the really huge circle of life, or however it's whatever the name is?
The really very quite large circle
Yeah.
is it's pretty good.
Yeah.
I haven't played a ton of it because again, a lot of games came out. I played a lot of games. I played Marvel Rivals. I played Path of Exile 2. I played Indiana Jones. I played another one I'm going to talk about in a minute. And honestly, all I really wanted to do was play Path of Exile 2.
Sure.
So it was a case of trying to play too many things at once, and something was bound to be a little bit ignored. And Indiana Jones probably got the short end of the stick on that one. But it is good. So this game, interestingly enough, chooses to start with you playing through the intro scene of Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Mm-hmm.
Except you're playing it in first person. And initially, I still might. I'm still considering doing an entire video on why I absolutely hate this decision and think it's really stupid and why it's okay at the same time. Why it's ultimately okay and probably smart that they did it.
Okay.
Because here's the problem. When you think of that initial opening of Raiders of the Lost Ark, like, what's the first thing you think of the opening scene?
Giant ball,
and what else? Hold on.
Okay, well, it
Spiders.
doesn't go to. It doesn't. You don't stick around that long. So
darn it. Okay. Oh, I think of the idol and going, you throw me the idol, you throw me the whip, and the Spider-Man, F you, Spider-Man, says Doc Ock and all that.
The power of the sun in the palm of my hand, he says.
Yeah.
So you know what looks really cool cinematically? Is Indiana Jones running away from a giant ball.
Yeah.
You know what doesn't look cool at all in first person?
What's that?
Indiana Jones running away from a giant ball, because it looks like running down a corridor while you hear a giant ball behind you.
Yeah.
Like, it is a case of showing you the intro to Raiders of the Lost Ark in a first-person perspective, but the move to first-person removes everything that's cool about that opening and kind of makes it lame. So, like, you duck under the sunbeams for staying out of the sun. That one's fine. It gets to the room where the little darts shoot out, and you actually have the scene where Indy, he puts the torch on one, shoots the dart, it sticks in it. But then the game has you disable all of the little steps because presumably they thought, well, trying to make people walk through a room where you can't step in certain spots in first person is a bad idea. And it is a bad idea. But as a result, you end up disabling all the traps, and then you turn around after you grab the idol and run through and set off all the traps because for some reason they're now activated again. And also, because the game doesn't have you actually dodge them, you can literally stop in the middle of the dart shooting and you're fine. They don't actually do anything. It's there just to add tension, fake tension.
I mean, isn't the whole thing just member berries, basically?
It is. Now, I have a lot of complaints. I have a lot more than I said about this opening and the fact that they felt the need to redo Raiders of the Lost Ark. But I'll just skip to the end with why I think it's okay. We all have an idea of who Indiana Jones is and who he should be. And I think one of the biggest problems with certain movies, which this is going to be the only time I acknowledge it exists, with movies like Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, is because in our head we're like, well, this doesn't feel like Indiana Jones to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this game could have very easily fallen into the trap of, this doesn't feel like Indiana Jones to me. And by starting it with something that we all associate as, this is very clearly Indiana Jones, it makes it to where you go, oh, okay, wait a minute, I've tricked myself. This is Indiana Jones. This is what it looks like. This is what it feels like. And by doing it, by tying it to something you know, when it then goes off on its original adventure, you're kind of more on board than you would have been otherwise. You're like, oh, you know what? Yeah, this is Indiana Jones. Because the opening told you it was.
Right.
And so it's one of those things where I played through the opening and I was like, this sucks. What are they doing? Why are they doing this? And then I got to the end and I reflected on it and I was like, you know what? It's probably smart that they did that.
Mm.
So even though I got a lot of complaints, I think this is actually a really smart move. Once you're done with, the member berries of it, you do get on a new adventure and it feels authentically Indiana Jones. You're in the college. One of my favorite little Easter eggs is I found a pamphlet about the Disneyland ride adventure, like the Temple of the Forbidden Eye. Like he has notes on the Temple of the Forbidden Eye, which I thought was really cool. So there's a lot of cool little attention to detail. The game plays really well. There is a part of me, I do constantly kind of wonder about the decision for first person. But I've been enjoying it. I'm still in that awkward phase where I'm kind of learning how the world works. So like you go to the Vatican is kind of the first area you go. And I was sneaking around. I got in a fist fight with a guy. Then I'm sneaking around because I've it's been made clear to me that apparently walking around the Vatican gets you beat up by Nazis. So I was like, okay, well, I'm a sneak. And I took a guy out, and then I took another guy out, and then that guy got discovered by another guy, so I took him out, and I went to do something, and then another guy found those two bodies, so I had to take him out. So then I went to go back to do something else, and then another guy found the three bodies, so I had to take him out. So now I had like a pile of 4 bodies. And I was like, I think I need to learn the rules of this game because this is getting silly. And it's one of those things where, that's where I'm at. I'm in the early stages of exploring the Vatican. And it plays extremely well, not surprising given the pedigree of the company and their familiarity with first person stuff. I haven't shot a gun yet. I've done fisticuffs, thrown bottles. You can slap out the whip real quick and do stuff with that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really all I've done. It looks great, although I will say we're entering a very interesting place graphically where things can look so good that with how good it looks, it shines a super bright light whenever anything doesn't look quite up to par with everything else.
Yeah.
And there's this thing that Indie does whenever there's something you can interact with. This little hand comes up in front of the screen. And it looks like the fakest thing I've ever seen in my life. It looks so stupid the way his little hand floats up in front of the screen. And it's just supposed to be a little like, all right, hey, you can interact with this. It's just a note like, okay, you can interact with this. But I get so distracted every time his little hand comes up because I'm like, hand seems small. why is his hand so small? Is it the suit he's wearing? And like, I find myself just sitting there staring at Indiana Jones's hand. And they also gamify some stuff that I really don't think needs to be gamified. It's like you go up to a medicine cabinet and up comes his little floaty hand. And you say, okay, open it. But they make you like press a button and then you have to move the left stick to the right to mimic opening the cabinet.
Mm.
And this is stupid. Video game developers, let me give you a tip. Nobody is more immersed because you made them move the stick to the left to open a cabinet. In fact, 9 times out of 10, what happens, and what happened to me, is we hold it longer than you think we're going to be doing. And as soon as the animation ends, then our character bolts off to the side because we're still holding the direction button, or spins like a crazy person because we're still holding the button.
Yeah.
It's not immersive. It's just extra work for really no reason.
I hope Quantic Dream is not listening to this episode right now, because that's all they do.
I know, that's 100% of their game.
Yeah, that's all they do.
It's just every time it's like, oh, it's a spider web. Like, you know the scene where the spiders are on the person's back, and Indy knocks them off?
Sure.
They feel the need to make you move a stick to the left to do it. And as a result, his little awkward whip hand comes up, and then he just goes, whoop, and all the spiders just go whoop, and fall off. It looks fake as hell. And at no point was I like, man, truly now I'm Indiana Jones. I pushed that stick to the left and knocked some spiders on the ground. It just doesn't add anything. Like, it's a pet peeve. It doesn't ruin the game by any stretch of the imagination. But I just want to make it clear. If you're making a video game, very rarely does that make me go, man, I'm finally immersed because I held the left stick to the right to open a cabinet door.
Yeah,
it's really stupid.
Let me play a thing that is what does immerse me in this world. This sound. That. Do we get a lot of that punching?
Yes, the punching sounds great. I'm gonna say Troy Baker does a very good indie. It just sounds good. That's another reason why I think maybe it was smart to do Raiders of the Lost Ark, because it gives you a chance to hear his voice, get used to his voice, because it is not 1 for 1.
No, but
it's very good impression.
It's crazy impression.
But it is not 1 for 1. Yeah. And so I think it gives you a chance to get used to it, hearing it in the environment you're used to, and you go, okay, I'm on board. I'm with this. The only puzzle I've really had to solve so far was putting stuff from the college that got knocked on the floor in their proper display cases. And like, it's something that you just kind of use context clues for. You're just like, okay, it's got writing. Here's a display about writing. I put it there. And like, no joke, I went to the internet after I'd played the game, and YouTube, in its algorithmic, ingenuity, recommended a video, how to solve the college puzzle at the beginning of Indiana Jones. I was like, guys, come on. You cannot be getting stuck on this puzzle. Even if you brute force it. It's putting 4 things on 4 pedestals. Like, just guess. Don't go to YouTube to solve this puzzle. Please don't go to YouTube to solve it. It's not that hard.
Yeah. Well, I have it installed. My daughter played a ton. She was very positive on it. I'm going to play it, but this is good info to have. I had noticed the little floaty hand thing in her playthrough, and I remember thinking, is that always a thing? He's always putting his hand up there.
It's weird. It's really weird. It just kind of hovers. And also, if you want to stay immersed, here's another tip. Do not look down at your feet as you move.
Oh, no feet?
He's got the waggly feet.
Oh,
yeah,
I hate the waggly feet.
It does not look good. This game, like I said, graphically, it looks incredible. But as a result, it makes certain things stand out when it doesn't look perfect. Like, the first time there's a cutscene, you're talking to Marcus, and they got a great impression of Marcus.
Oh yeah, it's really good.
It's the same guy, but it sounds exactly like him.
No, he died, so he's not around.
There you go. He probably wasn't him then, probably. So I was like, man, this looks and sounds so good. And then the cutscene ended, and he wanted to walk, and it was like a spirit got onto his body because all of a sudden he was like, "Oh, okay, Indiana," and then he just kind of puppeted his way. It was supposed to be a real walk, but it didn't look natural. It didn't look natural enough to match how good the graphics are.
Yeah.
That's the issue.
Yeah.
It was fine. It just didn't match the quality of everything else around it, so it stands out.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing. I've been getting some uncanny valley from the game a little bit.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, chat says picking nits, but yeah, I mean, these
Yeah,
things
I mean,
take you out. They take you out of the immersion. I get it. Totally.
This game is trying to be an immersive Indiana Jones experience. So if there are things that break the immersion, like the whole reason they said it's in first person is to be immersive.
Yeah.
So if the game isn't immersive, that's the game failing at its core point. Now, a lot of people aren't going to care. I don't care enough for it to make me stop playing the game. I might keep playing the game because I think it's good and I'm having a good time. But it's worth noting because if there's somebody out there that's like, yeah, I want to feel like Indiana Jones, maybe the fact that sometimes things look stupid might be enough for them to go, I'm not going to play a game that sometimes looks stupid.
Yeah. No, I get it. I was going to say one other thing about it, and it was, apparently the story, some people are saying it's as good as anything as the best. It's as good as anything as the best they've ever done with Indiana Jones. Like, it's a really good story.
Awesome to hear. So far, again, I'm not very far in the game. So far, this does not feel jarring or out of place. This feels like Indiana Jones across the board.
Yeah, no time travel, no freaking alien heads, like old school archaeological era business, and that's enough to draw me to play it. So, well, there you go. You also played some Soul Reaver 1 and 2 remaster. Anything to say there?
Did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, you remember Soul Reaver, Scott?
Hell yeah, loved it.
It is an awesome video game.
Yeah.
And they have remastered it. It's an awesome video game still.
Yeah.
Soul Reaver. I forgot how good Soul Reaver was. Now, for the remaster, here's what they've done. Graphically, it's better. They've done texture work to make it HD and look pretty, although this is one of those games where you can click the right stick and it will switch to old graphics.
Oh, nice.
So
That's cool.
you've got one of those where it is authentic, and they have modernized controls a little. So they've made it to where your camera control and movement and how that works is modern.
Oh, good. So
However,
your second
everything
stick
else is back to how it was.
Yeah, because the old one didn't have dual stick support even after the DualShock. They had to appeal to most of the install base, which DualShock was not a pack-in. So that's good to hear, actually, because that was maybe the biggest weakness was camera control at the time.
So you got right stick camera control. If you left stick run around and don't touch anything on the right stick, the camera will eventually follow. All of that is modern, and it has a world map.
Nice.
Which is helpful, too, for teleporting.
Imagine so. I have nothing but fond feelings for this series. I wish they'd come back to it in a new way. Maybe they will if these sell well. I don't know how they did. But that's good to hear. It was actually...
There's also there's a no-clip documentary out on the making of Soul Reaver, and it was very timely. It just came out. It's very good. I forgot how good the voice acting was in this game.
Oh, it's crazy good. Did they talk...
Usually we think of, like, we must recover the energy immediately, McMahon. Like, we think of that.
Yeah.
When we think of PlayStation voice acting. The voice acting in this game sounds like it's... At first, when I first heard it, I was like, did they redo the voices? Nope. That's what it was, and it is still super good.
That's awesome. Did they in the documentary talk about the studio here that co-developed it? They were here in this area where I live called Pleasant Grove, and I got to go out and see their offices while they were making this game, or maybe the second game.
So, oh, really?
Yeah. So the intro. Well, no, it would have been this one because the intro cinematic I got to see before the game came out. They showed that intro on a screen in there.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was awesome, and I think Mumper from Blizzard, he was there at the time. There's a bunch of people that went on to Blizzard, but Crystal Dynamics had a whole thing here, and I wondered if that was part of it. Sounds like it wasn't, or you would have probably remembered. But I don't know.
It might have been in there. But
I'll watch it.
It didn't stand out to me. You should watch it.
Yeah,
It's
I'll
good.
watch it. Check it out. That's awesome. Yeah, big fan. I'm glad it holds up as a gameplay experience.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, it's very different. Like, it doesn't play like a third-person action game. But like some of the stuff is still so wild. The fact that you have to impale enemies or burn them or throw them in water, like that stuff is so cool. And their bodies disappear after you consume their souls. Like stuff that back then was groundbreaking that we kind of take for granted now, and it's really really neat. So yeah, I highly recommend it if
Nice.
you like Soul Reaver. It's by the same people that did the Tomb Raider remaster, the 1 through 3 of them. Very lovingly done to make sure that those experiences feel official but a little more modern.
I feel like remakes and remasters, because they're different, but they've just been getting better and better. We're better at those now, and it really is a black eye if you do it wrong. So things like the Resident Evil remakes are fantastic. This looks really good. The Spyro the Dragon remake is wonderful. Like I kind of like this. These 3D remakes have been pretty solid. Bo, oh, you took it off. You had one on here? What was it?
Oh yeah, it was just Warcraft Rumble. I played it on PC.
Oh yeah, it came to PC.
I got nothing to say. The exact same game.
Yeah,
I played it a bit. So
how's the client? Is it cool and workable?
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, it just looks like the phone client in Nero perspective, except when you get in a match, it's the full screen. But
interesting.
Yeah, I did a few dailies and went. It's connected to my phone account, so my stuff's leveled up. But then I soon realized, it's like you got to log in and do dailies and play on its agenda. And I was like, yeah, I'm probably not.
Yeah,
this we got out. So
no,
yeah.
I feel you. Well, cool. Yeah, that's out on PC and Mac and all that.
I was just curious, and then yeah, I kind of got deflated after I tried it. So
yeah, well,
I put it in because I played it, but then I'm like, I don't really want to talk about it.
It's great. All right, well, there you go. That's what we played, everybody. You know what that means. We got time for this.
That's a good question.
Couple of quick texts from listeners. This is from JR, who wrote in and says, "Hey, core crew, why am I seeing better Black Friday deals for physical games and not digital games?" says JR, back on Black Friday. I think that is an unfortunate thing.
They want to ship inventory. It takes up space.
Yeah, I mean,
don't
you think part of it too is like Steam had some really deep cuts on digital games. That's all they do is digital. So I would argue that some stores or some platforms did really well. And I had a great Steam autumn. I mean, I know John bought a ton of games. I went nuts.
Yeah.
So I'd actually argue if you were on Steam in that ecosystem, you did quite well. But I did notice that digital on Xbox and PlayStation stores, pretty paltry this year. It's really nothing good.
Yeah, I really wanted to play before end of year Astrobot and Unicorn Overlord. Boy, that's hard to say. Which are, stuck to consoles and nothing. Like barely anything digitally. It's like, no, give us $70. Today, I was buying a humidifier for reasons that you can probably hear. And it was like, hey, also recommended Unicorn Overlord, 50% off.
Whoa! Right now?
You just got to get the physical. It's
Oh.
like 50 or 40. It's like $29.99, but you got to get the physical version of it.
Ooh, mine's digital.
Well,
And it's like,
it's taking up space. Got to get rid of it.
it's so obnoxious. Like when it went digital, everybody was like, "Oh, games are going to be cheaper." It's like, yeah, for physical, weirdly, it's stupid. I agree, it's stupid.
Yeah.
It's just they do that. Most of the time, they just do that because they got cost money to store that stuff. It's not like they're going to keep it around forever.
Yeah.
And get rid of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
It loses value quickly.
I just think that it should be a little bit more on par, but I guess that's the nice thing about Steam is only dealing in physical or digital rather, and I don't know what deals they make with third parties, but their autumn sale was freaking insane. It's one of the best I've seen. So I guess it's dependent on where you were. Console stuff's a little weird right now.
Well, I mean, games in general, because they have digital options, like games and movies, like media stuff,
Yeah.
it's a little different. But like everything else is physical. You're going to get good deals on that stuff because they're not going to hold it in their store forever, or wherever they're warehouse they're keeping it in.
We got a second text for today. These all came, by the way, to 801-471-0462. Please use it at your leisure. This is for Core. I usually buy plain bananas from the generic supermarket. I don't know what the generic supermarket is, but that's fine.
Probably a supermarket called Supermarket.
I like that idea. Like in a video game, we drive by the supermarket. Anyway, this week, that made me laugh. The Crossfire short from those things on Prime, from the secret level stuff. They drove past a company called Mega Tech Supercorp Incorporated. It was like this ridiculous amalgamation of like 10 like common terms you hear in like tech company names. I thought it was really great. I love that. Anyway, it says I usually buy my plain bananas from a generic supermarket. This week, my wife got me an organic set of bananas from Trader Joe's. We have a Trader Joe's. I like it a lot. They were bigger, healthier looking, and more flavorful. However, I found that I kind of just wanted my generic bananas, even though they are an inferior banana in every way. Do you guys have anything like that? Now, this came from our banana discussion. I don't remember the context. Do you guys? There was a whole thing. We said said something about bananas. I can't remember what the deal was.
Well, it's like people saying, "Oh, I'd rather have, Chef Boyardee spaghetti than proper ass pasta from a restaurant." You know what I mean? Like, 'cause those people are out there where you're like, "Hey, let's go to Luigi's and get the fresh pasta with fresh ingredients," and then you go there and the person's like, "Well, I like Chef Boyardee better."
Yeah, somebody
you
says
just want to
that.
be like,
Want to smack.
So we have a nickname. My wife has a nickname that sadly I used in front of the kids, so they call her it too. Well, which she doesn't love.
Yeah.
Where I called her Queen Generica because she loves to buy generic brand anything because it's cheaper.
I like
and
the name.
I'm the person that wants to cook with nice stuff.
Yeah.
So the ultimate insult for me was she said, "I'm making fettuccine Alfredo tonight."
Yeah.
And she pulled out a bag.
"You ain't making squat. You're
for
warm."
everything.
Yeah.
Like it
That's,
was a bag out of
that's
a
Scott's-
pantry.
That's Scott's dehydrated fettuccine.
Yeah, dude.
And I was like, that was what created the nickname Queen Generica. I was like, I am not eating fettuccine Alfredo that came out of a bag. There's no way is this food I want to consume.
Amen. I'm with you.
Yeah.
If I am desperate, I'll do something that's frozen, but I'm not doing it from a bag out of the pantry.
It's a fair way to live. I think that you're
Where
right.
it's all in one. So she got an unfortunate nickname.
Meanwhile,
from
Scott's dehydrating everything.
Yeah, but this is like real chicken. These are real chickens that we dehydrate.
Yeah, but are you gonna dehydrate some Chef Boyardee and eat that?
No, hell no.
Alphagetti.
Also, by the way, that is what the blood in the Terrifier movies reminds me of is the Chef Boyardee sauce.
Boyardee.
Or the SpaghettiO sauce, you know what I mean? That kind of orangey red. It's like that.
Yeah.
I may have to look. I may have to go look at it.
Yeah,
and
go
see,
have a
'cause
look and tell me what you think.
But I'm trying to think if there's anything where I'm the other way on, because she's like that on a lot of things, and much to our wallet's dismay, I have swayed her in a lot of these things. But there is one we had recently where she was like, "Man, I really want just some Eggo waffles." I was like, "Great, we can do that. Let me make some Eggo waffles."
Yeah.
And I cooked them, and she goes, "Where's the maple syrup?" I was like, "In the fridge." And she goes, "No, I'm looking for just like the generic maple syrup." And I was like, "Well, we don't have any of that." I said, "We have this fancy Canadian in a glass bottle maple syrup that has the ingredients of, wait for it, maple syrup as the only ingredient. We have that, and we have this aged in a bourbon barrel maple syrup that has a slightly different flavor, but we don't have any that just says syrup on it.
It's corn syrup with sugar in it.
Yeah, and she goes, "You can eat those Eggos." She wouldn't do it. She wouldn't eat it at all.
Oh, you got to eat real maple syrup. The generic stuff's so bad, and it's so bad for you.
I don't know if I have anything that I'm that way about. I'm definitely that way about, eating more authentic stuff.
Yeah.
But
But you
I
have
don't-
your bullshit you eat too. It's not like you're an angel. Right?
Oh yeah. Like I would rather eat Kraft mac and cheese than make homemade mac and cheese any day.
Yeah, I kind
That's
of would
crazy.
too.
Because you know you can do with homemade mac and cheese. You can put a bunch of hamburger in it. Oh.
Sure, I can do that to Kraft mac and cheese too.
Yeah, no, it's not as good.
Probably, but you know what? When I want Kraft mac and cheese, all I want is Kraft mac and cheese.
And it's quick when you want it.
Yeah, it's
Bam,
good.
done.
It's
Bo's
good.
out there trying to find beef, and you're like, I'm done already. I'm already eating this stuff.
Well, I don't
Yeah,
gotta go out and find beef. The freezer's right there. I just
Well, that's true. You got beef on hand.
yeah.
I got
It's easy to and ground beef's easy to cook. It's fast too. You just fry it up and toss it in the
You can dehydrate.
the mac and cheese.
You can dehydrate beef as well. So this dehydrated chicken, I should mention, is this is
Right?
cooked-
Are you gonna do ground beef dehydrated?
Oh, totally. This is cooked chicken, and that's important to note. It's not like raw chicken, then dehydrated. It's cooked and then dehydrated. And you
cooked.
can do it with
Yeah,
beef
yeah.
too, any kind of form of beef. So you can do ground beef and do it. I might try it, see how it works.
Yeah. Try some dehydrated fettuccine.
I like turkey better. Ground turkey is my favorite. I freaking love that. Oh,
I'll give
right.
everybody a recipe. Seeing as we're all talking about food, here's an easy recipe that I made. So I'm going to say something nice about my wife now, seeing as I've called her Queen Generica on the show.
do it.
I made her a dessert that when I told her what I was making, she looked at me like I was crazy. And then she tried it and she said it's one of her favorite things she's ever had. So here's a recipe you at home should be able to fairly easily do. Get vanilla ice cream, homemade, whatever quality, but it should be nice. Treat yourself what you're doing.
Yeah.
Homemade vanilla ice cream.
Oh, nothing better.
Get yourself a banana,
Yeah.
maybe 2 bananas. Put them in with the ice cream. If you want to cut them up, you can spend time doing that, but you don't have to. You can just put 2 bananas in there.
Yeah.
Now I'll use a brand, but it can be whatever you want. I use the Crown maple syrup that was aged in bourbon barrels, so it's got a little bourbon flavor.
Little bourbon
to it.
taste. Yeah, we have some of that.
Drizzle that over the top of the bananas and the ice cream. It will be one of the best desserts you've ever had.
It's the life-changing dessert you're talking about there.
There you go.
Yep.
Easy. It's got 3 ingredients. You
Yep.
go out and make it immediately.
And it's the
And
real
I don't
stuff.
care if it's a generic supermarket banana or a Trader Joe's banana. You can do either one if you want.
Yeah. Trader Joe's is great, though, if you have one. It's amazing stuff there. It's cheap. Well, all right, then. That we've cleared
All right,
that
we gotta
all
wrap
up.
the show.
Yeah, we got to wrap the show up because we got another
We
one
gotta wrap
coming
the
up.
show. I've got to answer my pants.
You got to take a dump.
And,
Um,
and we're gonna be streaming in an hour.
Yeah, about an hour and a half or so. Anyway, hey, I want to thank everybody who's supporting us on Patreon real quick. Patreon.com/core show. Thank you all for your patronage. If you haven't done so yet, hop over there and get your pre and post show content. Get your monthly benefits, including video game art in the mail, host specials. Got one coming from John soon. And just put one up myself, so check those out as well. And if you join now, you get access to all the previous ones as well. So do check that out at patreon.com/core show. What else do we have? That's it, I think. Yeah, that's it. frogpants.com/core. John, we'd like the movie announcer guy to tell us what we played today, if you don't mind.
Oh yeah.
So catch
Sure.
us up. Let's hear it.
In case you weren't listening to what games they played this week on Core, here's what it was. Path of Exile 2, Marvel Rivals, Metaphor ReFantazio, Mechwarrior 5 Clans, Psychonauts 2, Super Mario World, Indiana Jones and the really very quite large circle, Soul Reaver 1 and 2 Remastered,
Was that it?
Nice.
Is that all we got? Oh, yeah, that is it.
and Bo played Warcraft Rumble or whatever it's called.
On
I'm still pissed that they
PC.
removed Arclight.
I know, it was a better name. You guys are right. I agree with you now. I do understand why they did it, but whatever. Screw those guys.
Yeah.
That's going to do it for us. Thank you all for listening. We'll be back a little bit later doing the Game Awards live. That's at 5:30 tonight, Mountain Time, over at frogpants.tv. We hope to see you there in about an hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever it is. And if not, we'll see you next week for a brand new show. Between now and then, stay out of trouble. We'll see you.
Those pants are made for frogging, if you know what I mean. I actually don't. Frogpants.com.
Nobody asked you.
Oh, a little bit of